noting the time, 7 p.m. on the March the 31st, in the presence of a quorum, I call the Boxburg Finance Committee meeting to order. And I'll note that we have here from FinCom, John Grieven, Michelle Ryan, Joe Stolpin, Maria Nayland, John Connor, and myself, Tony Newton. We also have from the Select Board, Bob Stempel and Priya Sundaram. We have Chief John Shefchik from the police, Hong Hwa Lee, Mike Johns, and we have Gary Kushner. So the first order of business is to discuss the FY25 audit, where we have a number of questions that we had from the audit reports and letters we received. So everyone's got a copy on their, in front of them, I think, of all the questions. Mike, I think probably we can just go through these in order.
Sure.
Well, not necessarily in order, but maybe we should do the police one first while the chief's
Sure.
here.
Yeah, absolutely. Is it possible to do the tailings one after that?
Sure, yeah.
While we
yeah.
have Emily on?
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, so so I mean, basically for all of these, we did have a number of concerns about what we've seen, particularly some things which have been obviously reoccurring every year for the last 3 years we looked. I think what we want to get to tonight is really to understand what these issues really are. I think help educate us about what some of these things are that we have here. And there's a number of questions about how they occurred, why they haven't been resolved, and particularly what's our plan going forward. How do we resolve these? How do we make sure these don't recur in the future? What's the process here? What's the accountability here for each of these items on here? With that, Mike, I'll let you sort of take away the order you want to go in terms of each of these topics.
Hold on, do you want Kristen to call them to order?
Oh yeah, Kristen, welcome to the meeting.
Why, thank you.
Would you like to call your select board meeting to order?
I would love to. Are Wes or Sam online?
No.
Okay, so we don't have to do a roll call vote. Noting the presence of a quorum, I'd like to call the Boxborough Select Board to order. It is roughly 7 o'clock. All right, 7:05. 7:02 on March 31st, 2026.
Okay, Mike.
Okay, so starting with the police detail balances, what is here under item 4 is $180,000 deficit at the end of FY25, June 30th, versus $45,000 available. So they rounded up that number. The exact number was $176,000 and some change. We did, as I mentioned earlier, Tony, we did have a meeting earlier, the four of us at the table, with Julie Costello, who's the CPA, who's been working with us to resolve some of these issues, and she's looked at the police detail thing.
Just to clarify, Mike,
Yeah.
what this is essentially debts that we're owed by people.
Correct.
Who had police details carried out in town.
That's correct.
We've paid the officers who did the detail, but we hadn't received money back from the contractors or whoever.
That's correct.
So we now have these debts outstanding that haven't been paid.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So what we found out in researching into this further is that it's something that's gone on for many years, but each year you have a debt, or an unpaid or a permanent debt. It carries cumulatively into the next year. So if you have a little bit each year, it's going to keep adding up, and this has been going on for a dozen or so years, and it got magnified last year and came to the attention of the auditors in this past FY25 audit, because so typically our police private details, which is like construction jobs, like what's going on at the bridge, utilities, things where an outside vendor is paying the town back for the use of the details. Typically these details run on the order of about $300,000 to $350,000 a year. Last year's was closer to $850,000. So the order of magnitude of details paid out was nearly 3 times as much as it is in an ordinary year because of the work going on at the bridge and the constant details up there. So the problem is the same, but the magnitude of it is larger. So of the $176,000 some odd dollars that was not collected as of June 30th of last year, and that typically does happen because work that happens in the last quarter of the fiscal year, you're not always going to have that money until sometime in the first quarter of the next year, and sometimes a little longer. So it's not unusual to have some that's not collected, but it was a large amount. So working with Julie, she was able to identify since June 30th of last year $116,500 that have been collected of that, which still leaves a little over $60,000 in permanent debt that we don't think we're going to be able to collect. And again, that's cumulatively over the years.
I'm sorry, Mike, what was the number since June 30th?
Yes, it was $116,475. Let me just confirm that number.
That's what was collected.
That was what was collected from since June 30th, 2025 until present.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was
and
one.
that's all FY25 money, basically.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that number again was $116,475,000. Of that, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but it's $176,000 something has since been collected, and some of it will continue to be collected, but we're fairly certain that there's about $60,000 in permanent debt that at some point needs to be retired, and there are a couple of ways to do that. Two basically. One is through the recap, but it's too late to do it because we already did the recap, back in the fall. But we could do it through the recap this coming fall. The other second way to do that is through a free cash article coming up on this annual town meeting. But two problems with that. One, we've already closed the warrant, and it's very late in the process. And the larger problem is it would be have a $60,000 impact on our free cash position right now. So what I would suggest we consider is maybe taking in the recap in the fall. The downside of that is that it still shows in our audit. So when we get audited for FY26, the year we're in now, it would still be outstanding. If we decide to go that route, what I would suggest that we do, Hung Law do, is contact Tony Roselli, our auditor, and say, this is our plan. We know we have about $60,000 in permanent debt that we have to do something with. Our plan would be to pay that off out of off the recap and into the police detail to retire that debt that we know we're not ever going to collect. And I think, and Julie agrees that would be, either one would be a good plan, but if we were to go that route and have a communication now, while we're still in this fiscal year with the auditor, that they would realize, okay, we have a plan, we've committed to it in writing, and this is what we're going to do, and it wouldn't be a repeat hit.
So what's the 45,000 that we have available? What does that number refer
to? That was what was in the audit. I don't know if that was. I'm not sure.
Okay, that's in the letter. It said we had 180,000 deficit and then 45,000 available, which I thought that meant that we were net in deficit 100 and whatever.
135.
Yeah.
And that may, what I'm guessing that is, but I don't know for certain, is that at the time they did the audit,
right.
They saw another 45,000 coming in, but it couldn't be, accounted as of June 30th. But
right.
Again, I'm not certain of that.
No,
but,
these are year-end numbers. So these wouldn't be, the auditor wouldn't put numbers in here.
Right. So
They
I
were
don't.
not a June 30th number.
Okay. So I don't.
It's too,
Yeah,
Can't do that. You can't
right,
do the
so I'm not
opposite.
sure what the 45,000
Yeah,
is.
so in which case then the unrecoverable, or the bad debt basically must be less than that. If we said we've got 116 coming in since the end of the year.
So that would leave 60,000 if we went with the 176,000.
Correct.
116 comes in,
Yeah.
that leaves 60,000. If there's 40,000, 45,000 that we've collected,
It's
presumably.
15,000
It's
bad debt.
15,000, but I'm not getting
Yeah.
that, that's what,
Yeah.
We have no idea what the.
we have
Yeah.
no idea.
So we need to figure that out, I think.
So are these, can I ask questions, please? Are these,
Of course.
like, so normally you, so you're billing out on this side, so this is your receivable,
Right.
right? And then you have funds that you're getting the money in, and it's going into a line item on the income side, is that right? On the revenue side, there's a line item for this?
We put in that fund, the 901, the agency fund.
Okay, and that's probably what this 45,000 was, in that agency fund?
Yeah. I
Which is
think.
different than the revolving fund we're doing for the cruisers, right? Entirely different. This is all the money that goes in, other than the admin fee, right? Because that goes into something else?
Correct.
Okay, so that would be the 45, so it's in two different places. So I'm trying to understand how we have this rolling bad debt, because it's like, how many years back does that go?
You said 12.
Okay, so it goes back 12 years.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the audit report ending June 30th, 2023. There was no mention of like the police detail.
Yeah, no,
And-
but.
Correct.
Well,
That-
Mike said
that-
as the amount rolled up to a
That's
point
what
that
they're
it was
saying.
identifiable in part because of the receivables from last June, because we have such big details going on. So Mike actually did address that when he was explaining everything. It's a lot to absorb if it's not familiar to you.
Yeah, so basically what it is the auditors didn't think was important enough, it wasn't large enough, it wasn't important enough to put it in their findings.
No, but
Well,
like,
but
I
if
mean,
it's
in
rolling
2023, if it's a
$60,000.
rolling one, but in 2023, there should have been enough, right? Because this is 2024 or 25. So in 2 years, you're telling me that it went from 0 to almost 180,000.
No, he said it went from a nominal number to a significant
So-
enough
I know,
number.
I know that,
Yeah,
but
so
like,
we could
what's-
certainly get that
Kristen,
information.
what she's asking though is that Mike said over 12 years, it's been these small numbers accumulating in bad debt.
Yeah.
That got to 60,000.
Mhm.
2 years ago, that 60,000 had to be more than a $2,000 number. So that's the part I don't understand, that that's bad debt. I feel like that explanation, I'm trying to understand, you have your receivables, you have a fund that has money in it for 45,000. The net of that is 135,000.
We don't know what that 45 is, so.
Well, but it is money, Hung Ma just told us what it was. It was the agency balance, right? It was the money that came in, that's the balance that came in the agency as of 6/30?
So the agency fund, this right here, it's all in and out, all in one account. Revenue and expense, it's all
So it's
in one
not just
account.
revenue.
It's not staff.
Okay,
That's a separate-
so what was the balance in that account on June 30th?
That one, June 30th, 25?
Yes,
Yeah, that 176,638.01.
negative.
Yes, in the tax.
So we don't know where this 45 was available.
Well, in another document, it said receivables. It didn't say available, it said receivables. If I remember right from when I read it, if somebody has it in front of them and can pull it up.
Yeah.
It was, we have
says
45,000 in
accounts
receivables.
receivable.
Right, so I think, I think what you're saying is that this account is always moving, so to speak. And if you want the 12-year history, I'm sure we can go back and figure that out.
Hold on, we just need to understand this, because if that's the receivable, if it says 45,000 is a receivable,
Yes.
I'm proud of myself. that I
About
remember.
45,000 in accounts receivable. That's what it
Okay.
says.
Well, that means we send the bill out, but haven't got.
right, I know what the receivable is. So, so I don't know how that gets us to 60,000.
Question, so why have you written off the 60,000? Why do you feel like we have to give up on it now?
So our auditor, who's just, a special auditor who's come in, has gone and she's been able to trace, what we still, have as at least as far back as she has gone, what we think we can recover. And that's the 116,475. I mean, maybe some more comes in. In the last couple of years, I know Chief can talk to the last 3 years, there's some that's, we're still looking for there. It's small amounts, several thousand here and there compared to the larger number.
So there's a, kind of like a documentation issue tracking what it is, essentially.
She was able to track pretty well,
No,
what.
yeah, I'm talking about that 60.
That's 60. Correct. Going, the further back you go, the harder it is to track what it is, and the less likely it is that we're gonna collect it.
Okay.
Question, the money that's owed, or the let's just start with the $60,000. Do we know who that is that hasn't paid us?
We don't at this point.
So it could be one vendor?
Well, I can speak to the last 3 years.
Okay.
Those
So
numbers.
yeah, so it could be one vendor, or it could be 12 vendors?
Correct.
Yeah, you're gonna make 12 years, Bob, it's putting companies go out of business, stuff like that.
Well, because kind of what I'm saying, I'm following up on John, it's kind of like, if one vendor, and I'm just gonna say, let's say we got 5 vendors, and one vendor hasn't paid us for the past 5 years, every single year hasn't paid us for the past 5 years,
Yeah.
we're not gonna do business with that guy again.
Well, no, sure, yeah. But I think it sounds to me like it's putting more like there's a bunch of people who, when money hasn't come in, and this is, go back 12 years,
Yeah.
and probably, you track the company and it's gone, right? It's just out of business, it's changed.
Well, that was kind of my question, is like,
Yeah.
is it 1 or is it 5? I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully, one of the vendors that owes us money is not the state of Massachusetts, like for their bridge work, because I know that's coming out of the state. Hopefully, it's not the state that owes us that money, is it?
So, no, I can, so, yeah, for one, it is, and I know, just to touch on your point, it went from 322,000, 338,000 to this past year, during this audit, 848,000. So then, actually, the percentage went up on that snapshot in time on June 30th, without, say, April, May, June, a lot of that hasn't been paid. The previous years were at 83,000, 86,000, 74%, 71%, 74.1 and 74.6. Going forward to this audit, it actually went up to 79% collected, again, at that snapshot in time, but it was 176, so it looked a lot different, 80, and all of a sudden it goes to 180 or 176. But the debit, all the amount that was brought in, went up 1.5, 2 times as well.
Yeah.
So that's why that number, I think, jumped out as the 180. It was just because the bridge detail started in September of 2024, end of August, beginning of September. So pretty much for that entire year. So they both went up on a percentage basis, actually collectible at that point in time, which really doesn't matter, because you're getting those other, you're getting April, May, and June, or most of it. So that's why, again, it went from 80 to 180, but the main number also went up 300 to 800. Percentage, a little bit better, but that's, I guess, I don't want to say irrelevant. You still want to collect all that money. As far as your question, now there could have maybe something, of course there could always been an error, something wasn't billed or whatnot, but for what was actually billed and what we received, I went back to 2023. We're down to, and this is something that Liz works on constantly. This is what she does in free time. If you have any free time, constantly go after. To fiscal year 23, we're down to $240 outstanding. That was about $4,000. That was a little bit more. We did take one. It was $4,500. So I took them to claims court, small claims court. They settled because it was one. It wasn't just two. The 240. I actually think that company is out of business. So I don't think we're ever going to see that 240. To be perfectly honest, but that's fiscal year 23 of everything that was billed that we've yet to receive. Now, could there be something that was paid out, never billed? Of course, I mean, we can't, what didn't happen, but what we know did happen, meaning they were paid, and what we haven't received, it's only $240 for fiscal year 23. Again, it was about $4,000. We received 4 of it when we took them. They settled before they even had the date. So to your point, yes, if we see a big one with one company, I'll file a claim like we did, and usually they settle. Fiscal year 24, $1,080 is outstanding. $1,080 is outstanding. So that is something we're still trying to get, but we're down to $1,080. Pretty good. Not great. I know you want to get it all, but on 338,000, we're at 0.00318%.
Yeah, but the fact, okay, the 1,000, is that one vendor, or is that?
I'd have to look
Can
it
I
up.
ask a question,
Here.
though?
Yep.
So is this, So, 23, you're $240, what you're considering bad debt.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on, Bob, thank you, but I want to hear from the chief. You're considering that, Bob, bad debt?
I'm considering that uncollectible, that's not been collected yet.
Uncollectible
That
bad
was
debt,
billed.
Bob, I
That
mean,
was
Mike called
billed.
it bad debt, you guys talking about the same thing, right? And then 24, it's 1,080.
Yeah, I don't want to use
Bad
bad
debt.
debt because
Okay,
they use bad.
uncollectible. Okay.
Just because they use bad debt for another term.
Okay.
If a company changed, that's another term, but.
So is this, but we're saying that the 60 is 12 years accumulation over 12 years, so the 240 goes into the 1,000, so that's part of the 1,080.
No, 1,080 is fiscal year 24, 240 is fiscal year 23.
So
What's
it's
still
not
outstanding-
accumulating over 12 years.
It does accumulate, but what he's doing is he's breaking out, he
Okay.
knows
I
in the
just had
3
Liz
different years
pull in
he's
our
got.
system from fiscal
So
year
what was-
23,
so-
what she billed out, and what has not come back in.
Okay, and then for 25, you're saying it was 180.
No, fiscal year 24, 1,008.
I got that.
Fiscal
Fiscal
year
year 25.
25, and that's the one she still constantly works on. It was 13,000, now it's down to 11,000, because we just got something in last week, and there's another bill that's sitting there that we haven't cashed because they sent it in, but they sent the wrong amount by like $50. So we don't want to cash it. It's $2,700. So we're down to probably 8,000 on that one, and those are the ones she's actively, aggressively going after. Some of them are, you go to a detail and they sign the slip, but it's a vendor that LELD hired.
Yeah, it's a third
So
party.
it's a third party that the officer thinks it's LELD. So those are the ones she's still going after, probably about 8,000 to 9,000 right now.
Okay, but so this is my disconnect, and if you guys can clear it up for me and you understand it. Mike is saying it's 12 years rolling of uncollectibles equaling $60,000. At the end of FY '25, we had $11,000.
No, just for fiscal year 25.
I understand, but then if I go back and add 24, we're talking about $11,000, $12,000, and then change, you're not even till like 12,000 and a half, right?
Yeah.
12.5. I don't understand where this 60 is coming from. So you're telling me every year going back,
It's like 10,000 a year.
is it 10,000 a year all of a sudden?
I had to run the reports on what we billed
I think what
from
we're going
fiscal
to
year
need
23.
is sort of a proper accounting of all of the years, so we can see where this debt, what I would call bad debt, comes from.
Sure.
Year by year, because it sounds like recent years we're doing better in terms of collecting
Yeah.
it.
Liz is doing a good job collecting.
Yeah,
But what was going on before that, if you're trying to get to
So
that?
before we write it off and put that cost on our books, we need to understand, I think, what the background of it is.
Right,
In
right.
some more detail. Now, it sounds like the auditor or the person you have in has got some handle on that.
Another thing I think, there could always be an occasional one or two that was paid, but a bill was never sent. When she's running these are, the bill was sent. Maybe
Yeah.
in the last 3 years, one or two was missed, the bill was never sent. Because
Yeah.
when she ran these, it was in our IMC. I hope that didn't happen, but of course, an error could have one or two times. So maybe a bill never went out, but these are ones that bills went out, have yet to come in. So she's done a great job
Yeah,
on
it
these
sounds like it.
numbers.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at, as far as,
Right.
again, but why it went from 80 to 180, which was in the audit report, it looks striking, but that was because of a big project.
And
big bridge
I think
project.
we probably need to track this somehow going forward, so we know where we stand in terms of the percentage collected from FY '25, say. When we
I
get to
agree.
FY '27, we want to know where we stand on FY '26, because
Right.
this can get away from us, it seems, pretty easily. In previous years it has done, it sounds like, badly.
Right.
We're doing better now, but we need some way, I think, of keeping a lid on this, because this is not good.
Right.
So
I
the-
agree 100%.
The bookkeeper accountant in me is saying that I don't know how we do a recap or a free cash article, however we do this, without actually knowing what the real number is.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like, 60,000 is a good stab, maybe it is 60,000. I don't feel that unless we get some detail around these numbers, what's come in, what's come out, I don't know how we're gonna do that.
Yeah.
But if you go by what the auditor says, and they say in the report, we should, consider using the tax recap, right? They were considering for $135,000 to fix it. Now you're saying it's $60,000. Either way, it's gonna affect our tax levy if we do that, and we're already tight.
I agree. And the numbers we're bringing into you tonight, that 116 for whatever it is, that's as of 10 o'clock this morning when we met with her. And we just wanted to bring you the most up-to-date information that we have. And I'm along the same lines as Tony is. I want to see the numbers year by year going back and get as much specificity as we can, because we want to see that too. But at this point, you know, we've got her working on a number of things, and we said, okay, give us what you got so we can at least report to the community where we are. And so this is kind of a spot in time, but I want more detail too.
Yeah.
Can we organize a list of very specific questions? Because I feel like we could spend a lot of time going in circles. We've already repeated ourselves a few times, and there's a lot more to address. I think that we need to send direct questions, and you can tell us, like, who can give us the 12-year history? Is it internal? Is it external? You know, identify who the person is, give us as much history as you can, and bring it back. Because we can keep asking you the same question, and you're not going to get it.
We're here to discuss these questions. That's what we want to do as FinCom. So the questions have been sent. We'll review the questions with Mike now. There will be more actions after this coming. But I mean, we're not going to just gloss over it and say.
I'm not glossing over. I'm saying we're repeating ourselves. So let's make a very distinct list of specific questions. And the first specific question I have heard is, who can give us the 12-year history with dollar amounts, and how soon can you deliver it? But we can keep saying it over and over, and we're going to be here all night.
Well,
No, we'll get through these. But that's the question we have. Is what's the detail? Ask that question.
Okay, check. Next.
And we need to figure out what the plan forward is. But that can come back later.
That's next.
I mean,
What are
my
the
plan
plans
is
to
that
resolve?
all these issues will be agenda items for FinCom going forward until we've resolved them.
Okay.
But we want to have this first discussion now, and we'll go through as long as it takes to do that.
so I have a question. On this, like, we have, does this affect free cash? It doesn't feel like it does affect free cash unless we do an article to fix it.
Correct. That's the only way it would
It
affect
doesn't
free
go back
cash.
to free cash, like, there's nothing from last year.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. And then, or do we do the tax levy? And I think both those things we need to wait, right?
Yeah.
Because we're gonna have a fall town meeting, and while it's not meant for financial stuff, by fall, we should be able to straighten this out.
Yeah.
If we can come up to a number that's 45 or 60 or whatever, maybe that comes out of free cash. Because my concern is, you know, if we're talking about 135,000, based on some of these, whatever we're throwing out, anything over 100,000 affects the levy, which is already at 950-ish. That's our
Right.
capacity.
Right, I agree.
So then we gotta take another 100 out. That puts us at 850, and that's
Sure.
well below where we
And
were
it depends on
comfortable.
where the recap comes in, right? Because
Right.
our budget's really just an estimation.
Right.
If the assessor comes up with a different number slightly, it may be even tighter than that. So.
But at a minimum, we know it doesn't affect our current free cash number,
Right.
which I think is
Yeah.
really important.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Can I
Okay.
say, Tony, one more thing? If you do whatever number you come with, like fiscal year 25, that money is still coming in. As you can see, 24 was less, 23 was less, so
Yeah.
we're still actively, so
Yeah.
I don't know if you want, because you might then be taxing, but then getting the money afterwards. I'm not saying that will go down to 0 or even down to 240 or 1,000, but it's still going down.
Yeah.
So whether it goes down to 3,000-4,000, I know you said some businesses go out of business, but that number on the recent one is still constantly
Yeah,
going
yeah.
down, and she's actively working on those
Yeah.
and will succeed in getting it just like she did in 24 and 23.
Yeah, no, I think it sounds like she's doing a good job, and I think we need to just track that. I think going forward.
Can I ask a general question about the audit?
Yeah.
So, putting on my old days banker hat, when I got an audit and they had exceptions before a management letter's written, we would sit down and we would talk, and so something like this, I might say, wait, that's, we paid this out, this is what we're expecting in. Is that how this audit works? When they find an exception, do they sit down and have a conversation with you, or do they just put it in the management letter?
So they raised it to us before they sent
Okay.
the letter.
Okay.
And when it was first raised with Hung Ma and I, they said, we think you're 175,000 off on your police details. And we were both shocked. And we said, okay, let's look at it. And that's when, a couple of these other things came up. And I said, okay, I need to get somebody in here and have an independent look at it. And I asked our auditor, is there somebody you can recommend who can specifically look at this, the police details, and then also the other thing that she's been working on is the month-to-month closeout, the cash reconciliation. And so our auditor did recommend somebody. She's highly skilled, and she does this sort of forensic
But you do have a
work.
conversation about it with the auditors. That's what I'm trying to understand.
We absolutely
Okay.
did.
I just
And-
want to process in my head.
But at
how
that
it
time,
gets
when
done.
it wasn't much of a conversation because they didn't understand what the discrepancy is, nor did we, but they raised it. And that's when we went ahead and hired Julie to start looking into it. So absolutely, we were given a heads up before we got the letter.
Yeah, okay. So we can move on to the next one of your choice, Mike.
Okay, do you want to do
Yeah.
tailings if Emily's here?
Yeah, Chief, we can be released, I think.
Okay.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate it.
Fight crime.
Okay, so the tailings, as you recall, we did an article last May at town meeting that allowed us to go through the legislatively allowed or the statutorily allowed process of giving people a chance to cash checks or be reissued a check for money that they're owed from the town. So we've paid somebody $100, let's say, and it's been 2 years or 3 years or whatever, and they haven't cashed that check. The law gives you a process where before you can go and take that out of your tailings account and put it back into revenue, you've got to advertise in the paper and send a letter to the person. So Emily has gone and put something in the paper that'll be coming out soon. She sent she can tell you the exact number, around 50 letters to people who have, amounts of money. Of those, it's about $26,600, actually it's exactly $26,664 in money that the town has sent checks for that have not been cashed. But we have to go through a process before we can say, well, they didn't cash, it's our money. We have to actually give them a chance, and up to a year after posting to them by 2 methods that this is their money, we're trying to get you to take that. After that year, then Emily can move that from the tailings account, which is what the town set up after that article passed at town meeting last year. And that's where that money currently resides. It's not our money until we reclaim it as it's abandoned money, basically. So a year from now, we could take that $26,600 and move it back into miscellaneous revenue.
And no need for another ATM article. We just have to
Correct.
We can just do it.
Correct, no article, and that's just an action that the treasurer does.
Okay,
So
so that's
can
it. That's the
can-
treasurer. Yeah.
So can we ask Emily, obviously she's already working on resolving this.
Right.
Emily, can we ask a question, like, do we have something in place can you hear me? Do you have something in place to be able to avoid getting that far behind again?
Is she a host?
Yeah, she's there.
No, she's here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we got
yes,
you.
we can.
Okay. This is very avoidable. So after each month, when I have a vendor account bank statement, the bank provides a list of all cash checks, and then I go into Vadar, and then I check off the checks that have been cashed by people. And Vadar generates a report of everything that's been paid and what remains outstanding. And that's just on the treasurer to look at the dates of when checks were issued. And then when you're at that point where there's checks that are in excess of a year old, that's when you can just repeat the process of tailings again.
All right, so that's in
Great.
place.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good.
Thanks.
I'm happy with that one.
Yeah, definitely.
There was one other question
Yeah.
that you may want to get into while Emily is here, and that was about how much interest was on number 2, excess cash and investment.
Yep.
So Emily did some looking into that, had a conversation at 3 o'clock this afternoon with Bartholomew to answer that. So I don't know if you want to answer that while you're here, Emily?
Sure. So looking at the Q2 summary report from our Bartholomew general funds, the interest that we were earning was 4.37%. After speaking with Bartholomew today, they're projecting this quarter to quarter 3 to be going down a little bit based on market fluctuations and sort of everything that's happening in the world. To be around 3.7% for Q3. But, I do have the discretion to put money into that general fund. I am looking at our bank accounts to see which ones are yielding a little bit lower interest and, what I can be doing to, augment the Bartholomew general fund because it does get a good interest rate comparatively to some of our other banks.
Okay.
Yeah, Emily, just a quick question. So how much of our cash is, you have to keep a certain pool aside for checks and, basically the cash flow of the town, but what percent of that is in a high interest bearing account? You gave us 4.37, but is that all of our cash, or is that?
No, that's what
No.
they're already.
Can you let Emily answer?
That's just our Bartholomew general fund that we invest with them. We do have other bank accounts. We have money markets, we have CDs, multiple accounts that are earning interest.
Okay, I guess this is a more complicated question, because I'm just curious, like, how do you decide when to move money where? Do you have ratios that you establish that are like, I need to move this to a checking account that I can write 1 million checks on, or something like that? Or what's the philosophy behind that? I'm not sure.
So vendor and payroll accounts while they earn interest, I move the interest out into a money market at the end of each month. The money market that the money goes into is a higher interest yielding account, and on the principle of how a vendor and payroll account are supposed to work, they are supposed to be a net zero. So you fund $250,000 payroll, in theory $250,000 comes out. Same with vendors. So it wouldn't necessarily be a checking account, but I have good rapport with the banks that we use, and if I have a CD coming up for maturity in May, for example, I'm on the phone with him and I'm saying, okay, what's projected to be the interest rate for a 3-month versus 6-month CD? Am I better keeping it in for 9 months? It's just conversations that you need to have with the banks and keep that line of communication open with them, because they're the ones that are gonna have the best up-to-date information for you.
Okay, and do we compare against our town peers on kind of how we're doing in the cash management area?
I don't compare now.
Okay, sorry.
Emily, did somebody already ask this question? What type of investment accounts are we invested in? I heard you say CDs, long-term savings, like what? I know you have to be risk averse, so what other types of investments do we do?
And also, as part of that, can you also talk about the 70-30 split and how that's working with the prudent investor that the town voted on last year, Emily?
You got all that?
All right, so I'll try and tackle it. So understanding that you did have a meeting with Bartholomew at some point last year, you agreed, I guess, mutually agreed between Bartholomew and the town to go to a more aggressive investment portfolio, which they can explain it a lot better than I can, but it's just higher risk investments, but they also yield more long term. You were at 60-40, now you're at 70-30. That's the max a town can go. CDs, I have 2 CDs. Mass General Law allows the town to have CDs open for a max of 3 years. Other options available to us, you have money market CDs, treasuries and agencies. Treasuries and agencies are good for 1 year. And with Bartholomew as well, with the prudent investor, we did have that account opened. I know there was really no activity up until the point when I started, but I did reach out to Bartholomew, and I can get that once Q3 is available for reporting those numbers for you.
Emily, hopefully an easy question, and this is going to be very broad. Of the total cash available, you obviously have some cash that you keep on hand, and there's the other cash that you are investing, broad investment, whether it be CDs, Bartholomew, I don't care. What is that split? Is it a percentage, or or do you keep $3 million in your checking account and everything else can be invested, or is it a percentage and I'm assuming you balance that on a monthly basis, but if you could talk to that for a second.
Yeah, so the cash, in theory, is reconciled at a month's end. I don't invest based off of a percent. I keep cash on hand for funding payroll and AP and the school. I don't ever want the town to find in a position where there's not enough liquid money on hand, because we function with the principles that money is safe, it's liquid, and it's yielding interest. But no, I don't base investing off of a percent.
So how often do you change how much is invested, on a monthly basis or on an annual basis?
Right now, it's just the 2 CDs. I have not had time to really dive deep into what's available based on the cash I could use potentially
Right.
For investing.
Yeah.
I do have ideas on what I could start to do, on a quarterly basis and then progress to a monthly basis, basically doing sweeps
Yep.
of,
Right.
the lower interest yielding accounts into,
Yep.
for example, the Bartholomew account. That's obviously a lot of time, and I haven't been afforded that really yet to get to where I'm comfortable and doing that on a regular basis for the town. But it's, something in the back of my mind where money could definitely be made.
Okay, great. So basically, what's invested really isn't changing. But the money that has been given to Bartholomew to invest is basically stays the same every single month, and then we look at it once a year. And the same thing with the CDs. It's pretty much the same money. No new money from monthly activity has gone into investing purposes. You've kept it in our checking account to use, correct?
I've opened 1 CD.
Okay, great. Thank you. Good.
So it sounds like in '23 and '24, we had misses on interest, potential income, and if Tony's numbers are right, I assume you did these numbers? Talking about $1 million in '24.
Well,
That's the auditors.
That's the auditors.
The auditor's numbers, okay. So, for a 3-year loss, I'm sorry. But it seems like that's now resolved. We
Correct.
don't have that problem. We didn't have that problem at FY '25. And it sounds like Emily has it under control, and we will not have that problem again, because, that's, that's a lot of money.
It is. And as far as investments, one of the biggest investments that the town decides to make each May is that $300,000 that traditionally the town has been putting towards OPEB. That goes right in through Bartholomew. It gets invested in the higher yield accounts, and we've seen good returns on that to pay down our OPEB liabilities. And back to one of the other questions I think you had, John, do we compare ourselves against, or somebody asked, against other communities? Not necessarily. I would agree with Emily's answer. But Bartholomew is one of the most widely used firms for municipal investing. And, towns are generally between the 60-40 and the 70-30 split. We made that decision as a town, the treasurer did, on the advice and support from the Select Board and FinCom and Administration and Finance to do that. She has continued to do that, the 70-30s, which is more aggressive. And as Emily mentioned, it's the most that a town can statutorily do. So we believe we're up there doing the best we can as far as municipal governments do at this point. And you're correct, over those prior years, we could have done better. Now we are on track to continue to invest that money more wisely and a little more aggressively while not being super aggressive.
Okay. Okay, I'm good with that one. So we'll move on.
So that one's done.
So where do you want to go next, Mike?
OPEB, because we kind of touched on that one a little bit, I think.
Yeah, perhaps you can explain what the 50,000 errors are as well, because we didn't understand that.
Yeah, we didn't understand it either, because that was cleared up about 2 years ago.
Well, it wasn't cleared up, though. That was the problem. It's the way she kept posting it. So she kept posting it, and it was hanging out there.
Right.
She knew about it. This was our old accountant.
Right.
Knew about it.
Right,
But she kind of had it hanging out there, so it would always show up on our numbers. And
Right.
we were like, what is this? And she's like, it's fine, we're accounting for it. I don't think Mike understood it.
I didn't.
None of us understood what that meant, but she was the accountant, and,
Yeah.
everybody wanted,
So
we
that
kept
was
her,
that was one of the questions that we had for Julie this morning. And I said, we don't understand this 50,000. We have cleared this up. We thought this was taken care of. And she said, literally, she said, it is. She said, and she was going to make a call to Tony Roselli and say, look, it's it's Bartholomew doesn't show that as a, you know, as a $50,000 missing or whatever. And she said, and your general ledger also is, they're in alignment.
So it's in the OPEB account? It's in the Bartholomew account, because that's the problem. Somehow that got missed
Yeah.
one
it's-
year.
Yeah, it's the same. The GL and the Bartholomew account, they match. And that's what we confirmed with her this
But
morning.
does it still dangle out in our books? Because that's what it was doing.
No,
under
that's the
old
books. The
account.
GL is where
Okay.
it's, you know, it's the same on both sides. So she was actually, on our behalf, she was gonna reach out to Tony Roselli and say, look, I don't understand why that showed up in the audit report, because as far as she could tell, you know, Bartholomew is matching our general ledger. So it's, you know, it's clear. So she was gonna make that call, but we don't.
So do we get back from Roselli then some sort of confirmation of that at some point, you know, before next year comes around, to say that they accept that this 50,000 is not real?
Yeah, and that's what we're looking for from Julie, and we'll ask her to get that, or Hung Wah can reach directly out to Tony.
Right.
Now that you've talked to Julie,
Yeah.
do you agree that this is settled?
Yeah.
We were convinced this morning, and we were convinced some time ago that it was.
Yeah.
But Julie's gonna, you know, clear that up, and we'll follow up and make sure it is.
Right.
On the other one, the $300,000, it's not that it was not paid, it wasn't paid on time. So what happened last year is that 300,000 was voted at May town meeting. That should have been taken care of before the end of the close of year. Instead of getting it taken care of by June, it wasn't done until July, so it didn't show by the end of the fiscal year.
Was
So-
it past the date in July that you could close it into the fiscal 25? Because it's like July 15th or something at 5 o'clock. I don't know what's the 15th, but it's some number in the teens. And then it can still be closed into. So did it, because I guess.
I don't know the exact date, but it missed the date,
So
whether
it
it was.
missed the fiscal 25.
Yeah, probably, which is like July 15th. I mean,
Okay.
yeah. you
Yeah,
get- you
July
get until
15th
July
at 4 o'clock or
Yeah,
5
so I think
o'clock,
it
right?
missed that, and that's why it couldn't be included in the, so it's not that it's not paid, it's not that it's missing, it was put in there late. That won't happen again.
Okay, but how does that affect, if it didn't go in for our close of business for, you know, whatever date that was, July 15th, how does that affect our certified for free cash? Because if it was done after that, and the numbers for certified cash, right, to send in for our free cash, was done as of the closing for FY '25, even if that's on that July 15th date, and this wasn't done until after it, and clearly it's not showing in the FY '25 books as being done, even though it was done late.
Right.
How does that affect the free cash number? Because we're sending in our numbers of free cash, but we haven't made that transaction yet. So that's, my concern is that,
Right.
because that would mean our free cash was certified at 300,000 more than it should have been.
Right, I believe this has no impact on our free cash, but let me let Hung Wah and Emily speak on that if they know any better than I do, and if not, then I will confirm and get back to you, but I don't believe that has any impact on our free cash.
Yeah, I think we're going to need some confirmation from somebody on that.
Right, because
Yeah,
if,
so I'll
you know,
confirm that.
Right, because if they're not seeing it in the numbers that were sent to the state, and they're not seeing it in our books, that means we hadn't made that change yet. So the numbers that went in to certify for free cash would have been effective June 30th, right? And that whatever's posted in July before the 15th gets effective as of June 30th date. That would mean, unless I'm really wrong, that somehow our certified free cash was certified $300,000
Yeah.
more.
The source account has
Yeah.
300K in it.
That's what, you know, we need to confirm that the numbers you sent in include this, even if the payment wasn't made, and so we
Right.
need confirmation
I
on
will,
that.
I will confirm that.
Yeah.
Because that would certainly, and then I guess my big thing is like, how do we make sure this doesn't happen again? Because,
Yeah,
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 that's a big
and
deal.
that's kind of my question for kind of all of these. So, I mean, are we establishing a process, you know, note card for everybody on each one of these items? Because it sounds like, you know, a few of these have been made in the past, as we all know.
Right.
So is it on somebody's, you know, quarterly to-do, or quarterly checklist or something like that?
Yes, we are. We are in the process of establishing stop gaps and procedures and a checklist so that, you know, so that we don't have any of these repeats. And that's, you know, we met a few days ago on this. We met this morning, as I mentioned, with Emily and the chief, and then the three of us met afterwards, and we're gonna meet after town meeting this year and make sure that we've got, you know, all this stuff lined up before we get to the end of the fiscal year.
Okay, so that's you.
Okay.
So you're gonna get back to us on that one?
Yes.
Right, we'll do follow-up on that, okay.
Okay, where do we go next, Mike?
Okay.
Maybe you start at the top now and go through the
Sure.
ones we missed.
Sure. The cash receivables, this is the other big project that we've had Emily researching and working on and actually reconciling month to month. What was happening is and we've talked about this before at this meeting, is that the monthly cash reconciliation from the treasurer's office was not happening on time. It was backing up several months at a time, and that's been an ongoing problem. This is not going to be a problem moving forward. Emily is actually, she's still doing the current fiscal year that we're in. I'm sorry, Julie is doing the current fiscal year that we're in, and she has reconciled all that up through January of this year. But what had happened in the past, and why this was shown as cash variance, is because the wrong thing was being used by the treasurer. In other words, instead of going by the cash book and reconciling, it was going by the bank balance, and that's just something you don't do. Emily knows that isn't happening, and that won't happen again in the future. It was just, you can't just go by what the bank is telling you is the balance in your account. You have to, it's like balancing your checkbook. You gotta look at, you know.
You gotta reconcile it.
Exactly, and that's what this is about. It wasn't being reconciled properly, and now we know that, and you know, we thought back a year ago that it wasn't being done on time, and that was a problem that we'd been chasing for quite a while. But not only was it not on time, it wasn't done correctly either, and so that has been corrected, and that won't happen again.
So is this, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So how often is this done?
This is monthly, and that's the problem. Is that it was like dominoes, month to month to month was backing up, and it just wasn't getting done, and now we will be caught up, and it will be. And you've heard Emily talk. She's on it, and it'll be done every month on time.
So how soon after the end of the month is it done, and we know it's all balancing?
I don't know that. Is Emily still on?
Yeah.
Emily,
yeah,
can you
she
answer
is.
that one?
Hold on, she needs to be unmuted.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, okay.
So ideally by the 15th of the following month, we usually wait for a couple of straggler Kelly and Ryan turnovers from the deputy collector. But for the most part, all of the bank statements can be reconciled middle of the following month.
Okay.
So
and how many accounts are there? Because it says here, you know, there are 6 accounts out of balance, 9 accounts out of balance. How many accounts are there altogether that you have to balance?
Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 15 bank accounts, and then quarterly is the Bartholomew reporting.
Okay. Okay, so you'll be positioned to say to us on the 15th of each month that all of these accounts are in balance, and sort of essentially certify that to us if we ask you to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
and I have a question. So the $200,000 cash variance this year. So part of this audit report says, all forms submitted indicated the cash was in balance, which in and of itself, I think is an issue, that you need to figure out how that never happens again.
Right.
But-
Well, that's the issue that I had just said. We're reading from the bottom. Like when you look at your checkbook, you can't just look at, okay, there's more checks sitting there. You actually have to reconcile it and balance it, and that's what was not being done.
Okay, so this $200,000 variance, we have found it, we understand it, it's outbalanced. How do we resolve this? Or
When we talked with Julie, she said that she's been able to reconcile it down to around 10K at this point. So she's been able to reconcile that 200 to get
down to 10?
Yeah.
Okay, but if the forms, what forms were submitted to the state that indicated this? Because if we have a variance of 200,000, does that in any way affect our free cash for, based on the forms that were sent in? Like, that's what I'm trying to understand, right? Because part of that free cash form also indicates all the, you know, it has all the different things. It's got the articles and the agency accounts and all the different accounts. So if it's $200,000 variance, which way did it go in? And if the form was sent in and it was too high, because now we whittled it down to $10,000, you know, which side of the ledger is this on?
Right.
Do we, you know, potentially have an issue with another $200,000, which would make it a $500,000 issue for last year, if these reports are submitted for free cash incorrectly?
Right.
So do we know that?
I will confirm that. Same time I confirm the other thing, the OPEB 300,000. I'll
Okay.
confirm that, you know, that's what the impact is or that there's no impact.
Yeah, that's really important because
Yep.
we've spent
I
a
understand.
significant amount of free cash this year.
Yeah.
Understood. I will confirm that.
Okay, and we've already defined.
Can I just ask a quick question? Maybe it's for Emily. I mean, Emily, do you have to have 15 accounts logistically or legally?
Emily, yep, hi.
Hi. No, there's no legal requirement. I have a dedicated payroll and a vendor account, a depository account. We have bank accounts for like our online recreation program, online clerk, online building department. And that's just to keep the reconciliation process easy, to have as many that way. I can certainly condense them.
Okay, so
But no,
having more makes it easier.
When you have different receivables going in, like clerk
Yep,
fees,
separation.
transfer, that part makes it a lot cleaner.
Okay.
But no, there's no statute that says I need to have X amount.
Okay.
So do whatever you need to do to keep it straight.
Yeah,
If more is better,
I heard
that's fine.
15 and I'm like, oh my God, I have trouble with one.
Yeah.
But it's for reconciliation
Yeah,
purposes.
so that's
Separation.
fine. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Okay.
So number 3 is the next one, payroll?
Number 3, payroll, yeah.
Okay, 3 and 7 are two things, actually, no, 3 is one that we're actually still working on. So it's, it seems as though it's out of balance because of the way, and maybe Hung-Wah can speak to this better, but my notes from this morning is because of the way FSA funds are being drawn out of there. Is that your understanding, Hung-Wah?
Yeah, that's how she was explained to us is, when we withholding employee paychecks for like flexible spending, and then the point C is the vendor go straight into the bank and take out that money, but then it was not charged through the AP account. Like it needs to run that portion through accounts payable so it can run through the ledger. But currently, it wasn't doing that. It wasn't.
Okay, so are you going to discuss that with the auditor?
Yeah.
If you're saying it's not, it's actually, you can fix it, you're saying you fixed it or you can fix it? The issue?
Yes, so that's
Fixable?
something we talked over with Emily, and we're gonna
Yeah.
work with her to resolve that first, and then resolve it with the auditor.
Yeah, so that, I think that's what we
Correct.
want to see. We want to see it's fixed, and the auditor agrees it's fixed.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to follow back up on
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
Can I ask, quick, who moves the money? Is it the payroll company or is it us in the town that moves the money between the accounts?
What money you talking?
You're saying some of the money,
The FSA.
the FSA money?
Emily's just
Like
turned her camera
the
on.
point C
Oh,
is
Emily?
Oh, Emily's waving her
Oh,
hand.
okay,
She might
okay.
be able to help. with
Okay,
this
hi
one.
Emily, sorry.
No, it's okay. So when we fund a payroll warrant, we take it from whatever account, it goes into our payroll account. The vendors just, like Harper's takes their portion to pay all the employees. We have whatever dollar amount is getting funded for Empower, the Smart Plan, same with Point C. So all of those deductions are getting added to that total payroll dollar amount.
But who takes it? Is it literally Empower goes out and debits what goes to them and whatever other
Who makes
companies?
the
The
allocation?
vendors just go into it, or does it all go through the payroll company?
So point C auto debits the account. Empower, it's a file that on the back end Empower gets from Harper's. The file's uploaded, I go in and confirm the amount, and then it's Empower takes the money out of the payroll account.
So it's done between the payroll company and Empowers as your example?
No,
Yes.
but
Well-
you said Empower takes the money directly out of the account.
Right, it's done between the payroll company and Empower. Emily does not.
Harper's and about, yeah.
Yeah, Emily doesn't get involved. She only confirms it.
Okay, but the payroll company isn't debiting our account. Empower
Yes.
is directly debiting our account.
Yes.
All right, just because payroll's always been, as long as I've been on a board, payroll's been an issue. So just a better understanding. Hopefully we have a new payroll company and we'll have less payroll issues, which will be lovely.
So compensated absences, Mike.
Okay, and that's the last one, I believe that's the one that you and Colleen spent a lot of time working on.
Yeah.
So that one, we had no issues in this audit. It had been a prior issue, I think for a long time. This is one that they have cleaned up. We didn't have an issue on that. And the way that we prevent this from becoming an issue again is we stay on top of it, using our software and our people in the finance department to make sure that we track this very closely.
So is this compensated time? What is this? So I understand it.
It's the liability, like if you have at your end, if you have vacation left over,
Okay.
it's those. So like if you leave, then the town has to pay those accrued vacation time. So in the past, the auditors couldn't get a report from the payroll software. That's the report that they're looking for at June 30th. What do you have left remaining of vacation?
Okay.
That's
The
what they're
liability.
asking, yeah.
And now they can get that from payroll?
Yeah, I was able to run that and give it to them on the last audit.
Okay.
So is that something you would do, Hongwa, or is that something Emily would do?
It's usually the payroll department. I was helping out.
Okay, so
So
it's
it's
Emily's.
Emily's
Yeah.
responsibility.
And that's why, like, current right now, I'm trying to have clean one so that, so she can
Yeah.
have it going
Yeah,
forward.
no, just so we know going forward whose
Yeah. Yeah,
job it is,
yes.
basically. Yeah, okay. Okay. And network security was John's hot issue.
Well, it was the auditor's hot issue and John's taking it up.
Well, I mean, just one bad issue here, and as you guys I'm sure have read, can be worse than all of the other issues combined, right?
Right.
So, well, I mean, just what do we have in place, or what are our processes, and are we working with the vendor that, I think we've outsourced most of our IT to?
Sure. So Rajan can talk to the two things that were instituted with our new managed IT company partner who's working on that, and then I can speak to the other thing that we're going to do that I talked with the select board last night. So if you want to talk about the multi-factor and those sort of things.
So one is multi-factor authentication and endpoint detection, which we have. The other, which I think you might be talking about, is like the phishing testing, like penetration testing. That's something that we'll be working with CM Geeks on doing annually with each one of our, one, they highly advise it. Our insurance company highly advise it for our finance team, but one thing that we were considering doing is doing the penetration testing, phishing testing with all of our staff on an annual basis.
Annually?
Yeah.
Once, so is that like for 1 month, is that?
Every year. So
No, but is that like 1 day a year? And so when you have that test, right?
So normally how we'll do is you set a period of time when you do it, so
Right.
a couple weeks, and
Okay.
yeah.
And generally, that's unannounced, so if somebody doesn't know, and things
It should be unannounced.
look
Yeah.
as convincing as if you were really getting,
Right.
fished or penetrated. And that's what we want to do. We want to test our people, so, our internal staff, but also everybody who's using the town email. So that you may get something and just treat it as you would, so that we guard against that.
Does the state provide any advisory capability to you guys in terms of helping you, with resources or direction?
The only thing that they would provide is an IT grant, but as far as outside of any additional testing or providing any consultants, I reached out to the state in January, and the best advice they gave me was to do an IT grant to be able to get some funding to do penetration testing, as well as doing a long-term cybersecurity plan for the town. So not much support from the state except applying for a grant.
Okay.
I've seen so far.
Is that the same grant, the IT grant that
Alec applied
recently
for.
went out for? Okay, so he applied for that. We did not get that, but that's something we would reapply for. But it's also our managed IT service. They've been very good, and there's a lot of things that are included in the service that we get. Now, if they come and do on-site visits, we pay a little extra for that. But it's not like the last managed IT company that we had with it was like having an attorney. You're paying by the minute sort of thing. And I think they would work with us, and we're gonna be approaching them to see, what is the cost, if any, about giving us this sort of insurance that we need for many reasons. One, just because it's good business. Two, because it's good for our insurance. Three, it's good for our managed risk program.
Risk management.
Risk, yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you guys are a target, because you're not expected to be a target, right?
Absolutely.
Right, it's kind of the reverse of that, so, okay, thank you.
Rajan, just hopefully an easy question. Obviously, town employees have an email address, and the select board has email addresses and the thing. Do all of the committee members throughout the town have town email addresses, or how many? Because what you were saying was it would go to anyone who has a town email address at boxborough.-ma. So like the Recom, do they all have town email addresses?
For the most part, most people that are on boards and committees, we do set them up with a town email address once they're appointed. I work with Becky to get them on board. I think the issue is more so whether they use it or not, but we do set up most of our volunteers with town email addresses.
Great. So it's going to that test you're going to do is really broad. It's not just these whatever the number is, 60 employees.
It's probably I think maybe pushing 140, 150 emails. I believe that we have currently.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Did you have some more comments, Mike, on that? You said you had something to add to that, or did you?
Was that?
Did you have something else to add to that? You said.
No, I didn't.
No,
Okay, no.
John spoke to it.
Okay. Okay. So there's just a sort of general question, I think, about the bond rating. So one of the questions we had was, all of these audit issues that have cropped up, will this affect our bond rating? Can we get a read from Hilltop on that, maybe, in terms of, I don't know, what visibility there is to this in more general terms. But obviously, it would be a concern if this was seen as being multi-years of some of these things cropping up, and our bond rating being impacted by that.
Right. We did bring this up this morning, and there doesn't appear to be anything here that would impact our AAA bond rating. And I'll come back to you with confirmation of that.
Can we get a read from Hilltop on that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, any other questions on any?
Yeah, I think what would be really useful for the select board anyway, and I would think for the FinCom too, is, Mike, if you could create an executive summary of everything that was discussed tonight, as well as the proposed solutions, so we have a way to track it.
Sure.
Feel free to pop the transcript into AI and have it do it for you, and then make sure it's correct. But a lot of the questions are duplicative, not duplicative, they address each one, a lot of them are the same, so I think you might have to make that list relative to the question, relative to the number, relative to the concern.
Okay.
So, but yeah, if we can have something trackable, that'd be great.
Okay.
Could we have a total potential free cash hit
Yes.
for all of these?
Mhm.
Thank you.
Yeah, so the ones I've got notes on, we need more follow-up on is, number one, we need no impact on free cash of this potential cash variance here. I think number three, we're still waiting on some more detail there. Number four, the police details, we need more numbers there to understand how that's looking.
Right.
And that could be potential free cash.
And that could be a free cash impact, yeah. Number 5, the OPEB, we need to know how that affects free cash, because that could potentially affect that. I think the tailing balances we're good with, and the absences I think we're good with, and we need a hilltop read on the bond rating. I think they're my salient points.
I think so. That covers that.
Yeah.
Can we just look at the detailed document for a second?
Sure, yeah.
It's really a high level question. So
Share it,
in
right.
that document, there's a few pages where they're basically making statements, statement of flow, a balance sheet. So how is that working? Are they taking our numbers and putting them in here? Are they some of these are probably calculated values. Basically, what I'm trying to do is make sure that their numbers are matching our numbers of record, right? I think that's kind of why we went back and did this. So have you guys gone in, and I think one of them is on the statement of activities on page 6 of the 25.
Yeah, hang on a second.
It's basically a statement of activity. So I just want to make sure that our statement of activity, using our values that we have in radar,
Vadar.
Matches what their calculated values are, or if they're pulling the same numbers. Have we done that, or do we plan to do that, or is it mathematically the same thing by process?
So they're taking our numbers and using them from that, but you're not asking about the numbers they're pulling from it. You're asking about what they're calculating from that.
Which page do you want?
So it's literally.
So we can do
page
that.
5
I have not
of
done that.
46.
Yes.
I understand your question now.
Okay, hold on one sec. Go to the number 6 on the page itself, not on the bottom of your screen, so it's probably going to be a little bit back.
So it's like page 7 of the.
Yeah, it might be, it's off by 2, I think.
Right there, you just had it. Keep going, next one.
Yeah, it's kind of close enough. Yeah, one more. We're just right at the
Right
bottom.
there,
Right here. So
right
here's
there.
a statement of flows for the year between 25 and, and revenues, expenses. This is the statement, the screen and metrics we love, the numbers we love. So we want to make sure that, wherever we document these values, they're matching what they have, or what they deem to be the correct values, right?
Right.
Have we done that, or is it they're taking from our books, it's gonna be the same no matter what, or?
They're taking it from our books,
Okay,
but as far as any calculated values there, we can go through and check the math and do our own calculations.
yeah, I mean, and I would rely on you guys to say, I'm sure there's a lot of extended calculations from there. I would just go to the endpoint and work backwards to make sure that.
To make sure
We're
we
on the same.
agree. Yeah,
Right.
that makes sense. What page are you on?
That's,
This is
six.
page 8 of the PDF.
Yeah, sorry.
It's page 6 of 46.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming things like where it says here, for example, property taxes, that's the actual amount we took in 25, I'm
Right.
thinking, not what we budgeted.
Correct. Yeah, those would be actual numbers.
Yeah. So it should be matching our dashboards.
Yeah.
Yep, right. This 25 number should match our year-end dashboard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
One last question. The audit report, and to Maria's question, I'm going to go back a few years when I was exposed to these. Usually what happens is they have a finding, whether it be minor or major, and then there's usually a management response. Is there going to be a management response to the audit findings? I might be saying, you might not be doing it anymore, but we used to have to do it, a few
Are you
years.
asking how do you interact with the auditors to resolve the issues and to demonstrate they're going to be resolved in the future?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I had not planned on doing a written response, but the things that we talked about, working with Julie and going back to the auditor to make sure that the corrections we've made, that the auditor is aware of and that they agree that with the corrections we're making is right.
Yeah.
That's my planned response to go back to the auditor.
Oh, so there is.
Does that answer your question?
It does. So there isn't a management response addressing every finding, because the last time I was involved, myself personally, we had to come up with a management response to every single finding and write it as, and it became part of the audit book, is what it became.
Like whether you're aligned or not aligned,
Interesting.
right?
Exactly.
I didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
I didn't do that, but I met with the auditors before they did the management letter and reviewed all their points, so that if there was something, then we would, go
Okay.
back and pull documents to get to a place that they said, no, you're still wrong,
Right.
or, yeah, okay, we can see this. And,
Oh, yeah, no, good.
made
And
sense.
like I said, I apologize. but-
There's two ways to do it,
Yeah,
so that's why
I used-
I always did it.
The management team had to put together a response to every finding, and that would become part of it. But if it's not done, that's fine.
Well, I kind of feel like Mike is gonna put together a response, just not send it to the auditors.
Right, well,
kind
that's-
of,
right,
but
right.
have it as a document
Yeah.
to, maybe show the auditors when they walk in.
Yeah.
Here's last year's
Yeah.
variances, and here's what we're,
And
what we
document
did
for
about it.
ourselves
Yeah.
what we've done to address these
Yeah.
and make the corrections
Right.
and assure ourselves that we're not gonna make these mistakes again.
Yeah, yeah.
Was there anything within the audit that I know we focused a lot on the mistakes and the gaps and everything else. And maybe you haven't gotten to this yet, but was there anything in the audit that you found that you were not aligned with? That you read it and you're like, that doesn't make sense to me, I don't agree with that, we fixed that, or that's not an issue, like,
No,
okay.
no. The one that, as I mentioned, really raised my eyebrows was when they brought up about the 175,000 out of whack. And now I understand where they're coming from, but at the time when
Okay.
it was brought up, but otherwise, no,
Okay,
other than that one.
no, that's good. Yeah, I just want to make sure, like we're saying, like down the line, they'll be like, well, we found this 3 years in a row, and I don't want you to be like, we never thought that was an issue, so we didn't resolve it, so.
Right.
Okay. All right, as long as you're aligned with all their findings, then, yeah, we just resolve them and keep track and, okay.
Can we talk about in the fall? Not now. Let's get through town meeting.
Can we talk-
Maybe adding to our financial policies, how to deal with the audits, in expectations around that.
Yeah.
But we usually do that after town meeting,
Yeah.
right in the beginning of the fall, when it's a little bit quieter before budgets start.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
absolutely.
it's,
There was
work
something-
like we did last time.
Yeah, it's a
There was
pro- we-
another
we-
one too I
think
had.
we need a process around his audits, it seems, I think.
Right, right. There was something else
There
that
was
we
another
talked
thing.
about a while back, when we come back to visit the policies, that I think we wanted to talk about adding it, and now it's slipping my mind.
I know, and I wrote it, I said, hold on, let me write this down.
Yeah,
Revolving
and what we said is that
Oh, the
we,
revolving accounts.
Was it
The
that?
policies around revolving
Revolving
accounts is what we talked about.
yep,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, we talked about, we need to review revolving accounts. to
Yep.
do, for the, we actually make sure the correct numbers.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's a financial policy question, though.
Okay.
Was
I don't know if
it,
this is
was
the
it
same
the,
thing, but what about all of our account balances?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
We have cash and accounts right now. Do you know what their balances are?
Oh, no. Yeah.
Emily knows.
So I think that's the
Well, I
kind of
know
stuff,
Emily knows.
maybe that's what we, the next round, the first round we did worked really well when we did it, when you first came, right? Maybe the next round is kind of getting into revolving accounts, working with Emily on the cash accounts, the audit stuff, and do another set of policies and procedures that we all agree on, so that we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
I think he talked about reserve fund too, and whether
The
that-
reserve fund, and
That's
that's
it.
what it was,
That's-
what we were gonna do with the reserve
that's
fund.
one, and what we talked about was we want to be careful, we should have something in there, but we want to be careful that we
Yeah.
don't handcuff ourselves
Right.
by putting it in a policy, and then all of a sudden, we don't want to be violating our own policy. So I think it's worth putting in there, but just make sure we're careful about how we word it, so that we don't, all of a sudden, because violating your own financial policies is one that can get you in a little bit of trouble with your
Yeah.
bonding agency.
Okay, so I've got reserve fund, audit, revolving accounts, and cash accounts. And I'll add to this list, because see, it's right here, it says
you
policy.
can be the keeper.
Not gonna write any other notes on this
You
page.
can be the keeper of the list.
I'll be the keeper of the list as we need it. Okay.
Okay. Okay, then, we should conclude this part of the meeting then on the FY25 audits. Thank you, Mike, and Rajan and Hongwa,
And Emily, who's on.
and Emily,
Thanks,
yes.
Emily.
Thank you.
And we probably don't need you anymore this evening. If
Okay.
you would like to leave, you may stay if you want to.
Right, because you only have one thing on the warrant,
Yeah.
was that,
Yeah.
and that's a
We're
simple
fine,
one,
yeah.
the housing
Yeah.
plan.
And select board, you're welcome to stay or welcome to go.
I have to go back to work.
Yeah.
So, all right, so I move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Thank you for having us.
Thank you, guys.
I didn't got a gift for you, Kristen.
Oh, no, where did that come
Find
from?
that.
Found by the roadside in Stowe Road.
Oh my God, that was
Can we-
that's mine. Thank
Can we
you.
put that at 98?
Yeah.
Can we tack that on 984 Mass Ave?
Oh, I like that.
Right on that, Priya, right on that little White House.
See ya, thank you.
All right, thanks for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have no idea. Like, Priya, you don't want to stay for old time's sake?
I know.
You're welcome to stay, really.
You miss it. I know
I know. You guys are awesome. I don't want to like.
Thank you, friend. We didn't even pay her to say that.
Okay, next topic is the minutes of March the 24th. Are there any comments on the minutes?
I think one of the votes was incorrect.
Okay.
Oh, boy, okay.
Good. I don't know where.
Can't hear you, John.
You don't know which one?
I don't know which one.
One of the votes was
It's probably
incorrect?
another motion that I'm mistaking, but can we go through them, please? Because I think it was one, oh, I know what it was. You got my vote wrong, I think. On the one that was 4-2, there was a vote that was 4-2.
Oh, that was the,
Open Gov?
yeah,
Yes,
OpenGov.
OpenGov. There were 4 people who got it wrong on
Yep.
OpenGov, yeah.
Did I have-
Is that what we're going with? The 4 people who voted one way got it wrong. I got it,
Let's just
okay.
see if anybody was listening. So can we go,
Right here.
Second.
Where is it?
I think
Oh,
it's-
yes, you did. So if you, it's on page
give it
6.
Yeah.
So
You got the
So-
count right, but the name's
So,
wrong.
yeah, so John, well, should we say John G? No, right?
So, John Greven was no,
Correct.
We should,
Michelle was no,
Correct.
Maria was no, Tony was aye,
And John Connor's not out listed.
yeah.
Yeah, we're missing a John.
1, 2,
Yeah, we-
3,
we-
4,
I saw
5.
that-
We're just missing John C, yeah.
We're
Yeah.
missing a
Totally.
John.
Pesky
yeah, we need to add G next to John.
yeah, okay, did that.
You've been erased, John.
Story of my life.
So Joe and Tony were aye, everyone else is no. Right?
Mhm.
No. See, Tony is wrong. That's what I saw.
Me and John were.
Because
Oh,
Tony's
no,
writing the
Tony-
no
I was a
recommendation.
no. I was a
No,
no.
Tony was a no.
He's
Yeah.
writing the no recommendation, so he's a no.
Yes.
Yeah.
John wrote the no recommend, I wrote the no recommendation.
Right.
John C was yes.
Oh, John C was yes. Okay. So John and Joe were yeses.
Yes.
John C, yes. John,
John G was no,
correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Joe S, yes, Michelle R, no, Maria N, no, Tony N, no, John C, yes.
Yes, correct.
Correct.
All right, I made the correction.
Thank you.
Good catch.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favour?
As amended, right?
As amended?
As amended.
As amended, thank you, yeah.
Yeah. All in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, again, who moved?
John?
I moved.
John C moved.
John C. and Maria N. seconded.
And seconded.
We should check this next week.
Okay. Citizens' concerns. Are there any citizens?
Oh, jeez.
Calm down.
He's very concerned.
I've been thinking about this.
Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
I was reading Boxborough News this week, late last week. There was an article in there that the town of Acton's looking to rent Conant School
Yes.
while they renovate the town hall.
Yep.
Conant School is owned by the Acton Boxborough School, which is funded by us and Acton. So the question is, are we getting a rebate on the funds that are going to, that Acton's paying the AB school system, I assume?
Good question, yeah.
It's 'cause
Really
I
good question.
mean, the idea was to mothball, but pay electricity, heating, et cetera.
Yeah.
I don't know how long renovation's gonna be. I assume it's more than weeks. So I wanted to see
And-
whether,
And they had budgeted for the base maintenance, because they said that it's still gonna cost us money for electricity and heat.
That was always the
Do
plan.
that, Right, so that is budgeted. That's a really good question.
Yeah.
All right.
We will look into that.
And we don't
Okay.
have anything from school, okay.
Yeah.
Conant.
Yeah.
Are you emailing to look into that, or is John?
Foxborough News.
Well, who do we talk to? The school committee, I guess.
Yeah, school
Yeah.
committee, yep.
No, I can follow up on that.
Wouldn't that just clear out in plus funds in and then just be a hit to expenses and then go to the ratio afterwards? I mean, I don't see how that would.
Depends on how much they've budgeted for Conant. So let's say they budget $1 million to do the basic, having to keep the lights on and the heat, whatever they have to do, right?
Basic,
With the
yeah,
basic,
baseline,
with,
yeah.
with it being
To
empty.
exist.
So
Yeah.
$1 million. And they're gonna make $2 million on the rental.
Right.
Well, that's $1 million.
On the plus side,
On the plus side.
right.
So,
So we should
So that
get like
comes into other,
170K.
it's on the top side of the.
so
income
that
sheet.
should
So
come
impact.
off the assessment,
Right.
because they've already voted their budget at a certain level.
Yeah.
They vote their budget at, so for the sake of argument,
Okay.
117
Okay,
million.
okay. So it should be proportion, is what we're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it'll be our percentage
Yeah,
of
our
that. Yep.
17.3%.
Yeah, 17.3 or 5 or whatever it
back
is.
to us or
Yep.
whatever, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So will somebody reach out to,
Tony
I
Vaughn.
Tony.
I'll reach out to Tori.
out to who?
Tory.
Cameron.
Thank you.
Okay, FY27 budget. I mean, there's nothing really more to say there, I don't think. I can show you the most recent version, if that helps.
More?
Tony knows this already.
Gary's going back up.
So Tony knows this, I reached out to him. 2 meetings ago, there was a big discussion about the town and library staff going unionized, and we were talking about pulling the funds out of, or the money out.
Yeah.
I've heard offline that that's not going to happen, but we never talked about that here. So I thought it'd be
Yeah.
useful to get that into the minutes that,
Yeah, thanks for reminding me, Gary. Yeah, so for those who aren't aware of this, so a couple of meetings back, there was discussion about some town employees unionising, and there'll be a collective bargaining agreement eventually to cover their pay raise.
So which
And
ones?
Sorry.
Can we say which ones or which groups?
Yes, it's
Well,
Library?
it's it's the majority, not all, of the current non-union employees who are not contracted,
who are on a personnel plan right now.
who are on the personnel plan. So,
And that's the only identifier we have to them?
well, I mean, it's town hall employees, it's
Okay.
library employees that are not contracted, right?
Okay, all right.
It's not DPW, it's not police, it's not fire.
There is DPW, police and fire have got assistants that are not unionized. So they would be part of that plan as well. They're all, whoever's on the personnel plan, minus a few, and I don't really know what few that is, but it's, Mike has said it's minus few. That also doesn't include any of the, per diem firefighters, special police, those guys are all no one there, it doesn't include any of the Flare Field people. Anyone who's on that per diem schedule is not included in that.
So the discussion was that we've already budgeted 3% as the personnel plan increase. If they're going to unionise, they won't get that. They'll get whatever they negotiate. So we were going to take the 3% out and then potentially put in whatever they negotiate as a town meeting article in town meeting. So I was told by Mike that it's a long process they're going through and it won't happen before town meeting, basically. So it looks like they're going to get their 3% as in the personnel plan, and then whatever happens after that, basically.
So would that be for the next fiscal year
Next
then?
year,
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Right.
Or even if it's for this fiscal year, the first year might be, baked in already, so then it would be a 3-year contract with,
Yeah,
so it depends on how they negotiate it.
So therefore, no need for us to take the 3% out and put in another article.
So we'll leave it as is.
Would be a bit of a scramble to do that anyway, I think.
Right.
But yeah. Okay, so here's the budget. I mean, this is the magic number at the bottom here, which is
For now.
a little bit of a cushion.
I just want you guys, you all laughed at me. This is not
I was
this.
laughing with.
No, you guys all
I
laughed at
was
me.
laughing, you gave me that dirty look. and
No,
I'm
no,
like,
no,
I'm
no.
laughing
When
with you.
I, every time
When
we.
she said that, I
No,
was
no,
laughing with you.
that's not even what I was gonna tell you. When I came in and always said, I really hate spending all this money on free cash. This free cash number makes me nervous because we don't know if it's real, if it's not real. Feel a little bit justified
It's not
tonight.
real. Let's be clear on that.
So when Becky said that, Becky and I both feel a little bit vindicated.
Nobody
Anyway,
knows where it comes from.
so that, we're at 971. Good Christ. Okay, that's it, we're done, right? Because it's budget's voted, put to bed, we can't add anything to it.
In theory.
Well,
Yeah.
No,
that is
but
true.
really,
It's not-
On
not-
town
not
floor,
just
they
vote-
could.
Not just voted, yeah,
Yeah.
town floor, yeah.
It's not done till it's done.
It was voted by the select board the other night, last night. There was concern by a couple select board members, or maybe one, that we cut the training. So I made a correction and said, Mike presented the budget, it was his priorities. He cut the training, we did not cut any budgets, in fact, we added money back to the budget for certain lines.
Okay. I
Um,
know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
He just wants
okay.
to make sure that we're treating our employees well.
So the town warrant, we need to vote a new article at the bottom here somewhere, which is the, well, there's
There
a
it
couple of
is.
things,
There's
yeah.
a rewrite too, right?
There's a rewording of the panic alarm.
Mm-hmm.
What was the impetus of that? Was it just?
Yeah, I don't
It
know.
seemed like just wordsmithed completely,
I
but it
mean,
didn't seem like it added or
I
removed
don't
anything.
think it changes our
Yeah.
vote, right?
And
No,
I
it
don't
doesn't.
know why it was done, because
doesn't.
it was never mentioned in a public meeting.
The only thing I could.
I hope it
Ours
could-
or select
I could
board.
get from it was like the original one seemed a little bit like advocating for it as opposed to just stating
It
the
almost
benefits.
promised too much, it seemed.
It seemed like
Yeah.
the first one seemed like a recommendation instead of just a warrant, but the next one still is all benefits, so I couldn't really figure out what they
Yeah,
did there.
yeah. So anyway, the one we need to vote is the
Yep.
matching grant for the housing reduction plan, which is what Alec, I think, told us about last week. So,
The only thing I don't love about this is, I'm fine with the grant itself. The summary itself doesn't really show that this housing production plan is somewhere between $60,000 and $75,000. It almost makes it seem like it's $15,000, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I would like that to be a little bit more clarified, but,
Yeah.
you know, they wrote the summary, not
Yeah.
us, so it's not our wording.
yeah.
We could put it in our recommendation.
We could.
Okay, so,
I mean, that's the.
So this is a $15,000
So it's a $15,000.
for a matching grant
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they don't put the total.
for a housing
Yeah.
growth
So, It'd be
strategy.
good if the total was there somewhere.
Which is used by the planning board, the housing board, it's used by the planner to get grants. I mean, there's a lot of reasons you need to have this housing production plan, for long-term planning in town. So, and I think the one we have is pretty old.
Housing boards at the bottom does say 15,000 represents only 20 to 25% of the total project cost. That seems like burying the lead a little bit, like.
Wait,
don't
housing
we
board says
know-
that?
Yeah, the end of the.
Oh, there
housing
it
board
is. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
recommendation, But it's still vague, I mean,
Yeah.
nice to know the actual number of the.
And I mean, maybe he's gonna present it,
yeah.
but I do think it is a little bit, not misleading, like in a bad way. They didn't do it intentionally, but
yeah.
it just isn't as
So,
transparent as it could be.
though, but if they get the grant, won't we be covered by 40 to 50%?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so if they get the grant, it'll be 50,000-ish.
If they don't get the grant, then doesn't happen?
So if they don't get the grant, they're gonna have to come back, and look for money again, because this has to be done. So, especially with, you know, any potential building that's being done in town, whatever happens at Stowe Road, if there's any housing going in, the housing board needs this to make sure that our affordable housing is in line and
So will they
everything.
know before town meeting whether they get the grant or not?
I didn't get that from Alec.
So if we vote at town meeting, we take the money from free cash, we put it into
Right.
an account,
Right,
and it just sits there until, if we don't get the grant, it has to sit there until we do get the grant. at some
right,
point.
but it's free cash, it's not being taxed, so,
Yeah, yeah.
right, and then what will happen is if we don't get the grant this year, presumably, maybe even in the fall, they would come back looking for the money.
Yeah.
But, so if we, I'm sorry, you just asked this question, but if we don't get the grant, it sits in free cash for how long? Is there an encumbrance to it?
It sits reserved in free
It's
cash.
so it's
So-
encumbered for how long?
Indefinitely, until we go back and unencumber it, which is one of the things that we had talked about, looking at that list, which we're not getting updated month-end reports, but when we get those month-end reports, we used to get them from Carly. At the back few pages, it shows, ATM 21, Article 15, and then you can see what's still in there.
Yeah, there's still $3,000 left over.
Yeah.
Oh, like the sustainability that had like 12
Right.
grand from 12 years ago.
But that's still in there because they didn't close that out.
All right.
So that needs to be that. I'm gonna add that to my
That's
list for the
another-
fall.
that's another-
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how much unencumbered funds.
Close it out, old warrant articles.
How much unencumbered funds do we have lying around?
Well, that's, all of that money is encumbered. That is all
Or, yeah,
supposed to.
encumbered, sorry, yeah.
Right,
Like,
so
just
that's.
sitting there,
Right.
Yeah.
And when the free cash number goes into the state, you're supposed to take, so if that's let's say it's
Mm-hmm.
100,000 total, that goes on the report as minus $100,000 in free cash, because you're not allowed to use that money.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Gary.
hopefully.
Thinking about our policies that we have, do any of our policies talk about what Maria just said? That if an article is approved at town meeting, that we require a town meeting to close it out?
I think
No.
it's
Because
just
when
the
Mike
law.
came in,
That's just the law, right?
what's that?
That's just the law, I think.
I don't think it is. Mike
So
thought
when-
we could just close it out automatically.
But then he didn't. We told him last year, he sold us that the first year he was here, and we said, we don't think so. We think it's a law because we've always done it this way. There is an article, there has been for the last 2 years, to close out old
No,
articles.
we've always done it that way as
Yeah.
Foxborough.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's legal law by Mass General law.
We'll find
And
out
I'm just
when we
wondering
write
if we
this.
should put it as a policy,
Yeah.
Yep,
so that because that's what we've always done.
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's the idea of policies, right, to show what we do.
Yeah, good question.
So if somebody else comes in 20 years,
Yeah,
we know.
yeah.
So you're saying
Should we
these
make
have to
the
go-
policy that they auto expire after 2 years or something like
Yeah.
So you
that?
can't necessarily do that, because like, for instance, the fire trucks, right? We ordered an ambulance 3 years ago. That hasn't come in yet.
No.
Right, so
Lead
you
times, I
would
understand.
need to, we would need to individually put expiration dates based on what we think the supply is gonna be.
And that's just gonna be.
And that
flagged,
just, and then who's gonna track that? I mean, let's think about that, given what we've talked
Well,
about.
I mean, you gotta
So-
track it anyways.
To get
right?
the money back, we have to go back to the
Yeah,
town
so it's just
meeting
a
and
list
say,
of-
we never used
Free
this, we
cash.
want it back.
Like, you'll look, if you go, when you get the warrants, you can look, and there's one article's closed, articles.
Yeah, I think we covered it. I
Yeah,
just-
we voted.
No,
It's
we
just a
covered
couple
it.
of
Just-
lines, and
the-
it's just-
The dots are slowly
Yeah.
connecting. 49
all
warrant
good.
articles later.
It might say in an
Neurons are
article,
firing.
how are the articles identified, which ones are getting closed out this year?
Yeah, I
It
think
says
that's
that.
kind of what I'm getting at.
And
though,
so
like,
it says
how
that,
do we-
because the way we track it, it literally says ATM 25, Article 15.
Right, but who pulled that and put it into the warrant?
Yeah, who's
That
doing
we're
that?
doing
Oh,
this
so
year?
that's, it means the project's done, so Mike and Hunghwa would do that.
Okay.
They would look at
Okay,
that
that's
list
kind of where I
and
was
say,
going,
this is
thank you,
done,
Joe.
this is
Right.
done, this is done.
Okay.
Okay.
Not the town clerk or anything like that?
No. No, they may go to, so let's say the town clerk has an article, they would go to the town clerk. They need to do that, they need to go to all the department heads and say, okay, here are your outstanding articles. What are we doing with that?
If
Yeah,
we
I
have
mean,
that- if we have that
so who's
list
the
at
master
beginning
keeper
year,
of all
like,
the articles and goes around
We
and
could,
does
as
that?
liaisons, reach out and say, hey, you're working on this line, you're working on that, and get that information earlier.
Or I want it back.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's something that we need to talk to Mike about and Hunghwa and see how, who's gonna handle that. I mean, personally, I think that's an administration issue. That's something that they should be doing and bringing to us. We should be chasing it
Can
down.
we put that on the list,
Yeah.
just as a reminder?
I have old article closeout.
Okay.
But it also helps, like, if we're going to as committee liaisons and they're like, oh, we want a warrant article for this, and it could be a brand new committee, and be like, did you guys know you have 10K lying around? I mean, it was probably voted on for a specific
So I will say
purpose
Mike
within
does a
warrant.
lot of that,
Okay, he does.
because if he
Okay.
has a department head, and the department heads all know what their articles are.
Okay.
Now, part of the problem is we had a lot of turnover, so
Mhm.
it may be a department head, like maybe the chief says to me, I need X, and I say, no, we did that 5 years ago, because he wasn't here, nobody was here.
He doesn't
You know what I
know,
mean? So there's
yeah.
some historical, but.
That historical knowledge helps a lot, but like for new people, like us coming in.
No clue.
Not new anymore, but, when I'm reaching out to my chairs, it'd be great if I just had a little cheat sheet of like, here are the open articles that they're working on, here
So
are
we should
their
be able to get
revolving
those.
fund
We can
balances,
get that.
We can
you
get
know?
That'd be
that,
good.
probably
Yeah.
after, well, no,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
early enough that Hunghwa should be able to get it for us, it's not.
Town reports used to have that information.
I mean, it's a lot of information, so we need to work on
Right.
condensing it into something
Yeah.
more usable, but I think
Right.
we can get that.
What's a town report?
A literal town report that
Who
we
gets
get.
those?
It's like
Yeah.
a book, the book.
It's a book.
It's
book.
it's like a big book of all the numbers, yeah.
And it's printed,
Yeah.
and you get it at
Oh,
town
I know,
meeting,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
on the
Yeah.
back of the room, yeah.
It's like it's about like
And
yay thick.
I know it sounds
It's a fascinating
crazy, but I will say, it is so helpful in going back and figuring out
Mm-hmm.
how many fire, like with the fire station, how many calls have we had over the last 10 years that have been on the highway, medical calls versus fire, and those are all listed in the statistics in the back of the
No, I don't
annual
remember
report.
that.
No.
Yeah,
Are you talking about there's the section on the website where all the reports are listed. Are we talking about the same report?
Well, I'm talking about the book that says annual report on it,
Yeah.
that you pick
The
up at
nice
the back
thick
of.
white one that they, you know.
Yeah.
one of the
So
few things
every
wrong with it.
department does it,
Okay.
I'm sure it's online too.
Tony
Yeah,
did
does
it,
the finance
yeah.
part.
but it's a great way to get some real historical
I didn't know
perspective
there
on
was-
stuff.
Yeah.
Little stats in the back.
Okay, anyway, let's go ahead and.
Yeah, let's
I
focus
had
on
a
this.
question just about this housing.
Oh, you actually have a question on the
A real
article?
question. So this grant money, so we're putting up 15K to match everything, and then what, we're gonna pay someone to make a plan for us? Is that
So
the
I think
whole
it's more of a
point?
consulting thing. So when we did, like, for instance, the master plan, we worked with 2 consultants, and we do pay
Okay.
them, and they were from the Mass Association of Planners or
Okay,
something
so this
or other.
is like 50K total to consult with someone to help us build
Yes,
this.
to help us put this together, and,
Okay.
and.
I just want to know what we were paying for.
Do you
Yep.
get like certified with the state or anything like that, or is it just an internal thing that we like? is-
No, this is gonna go out, and it's done by, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's done by, like, an agency, you know, we kind of reach out to a state agency, but you gotta pay for that, it's not all free.
Okay.
If I'm not
Okay.
mistaken, that's how we
Thank
did
you.
master plan.
Okay, can we vote?
Yes.
No, you wanna vote?
I'll
I'm
take a
good.
motion on this one.
No,
I move to recommend the article grant match for a housing production plan for $15,000 free cash. I don't think I have to do salary, non-salary.
No, you don't.
$15,000 free cash.
second.
All in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
So what are we doing
Okay.
about a recommendation on this?
Do we need to do one? I suppose we do. Who wants to
Yes,
write it? Who wants to
well,
write it?
your housing,
Your housing, I'm affordable housing trust.
jeez, you're a pain in my butt.
I'll do it anyway.
Joe, you, oh, you
All right,
do.
Joe.
I'll do it. Yeah,
Thanks.
You'll take it off.
Okay.
Okay.
Will the recommendation indicate that this only money is spent if the grant comes in?
Yeah, you should say that.
It will now.
Thank you.
Okay, so Joe, can you get it to me, like, fairly soon?
Like tonight?
I mean, I set the bar
By
last
10
week,
o'clock.
okay?
I don't, when,
We're doing it
when
live.
they need this final version.
Very soon. I mean, Kelly was on the select board last night. She needs it fairly soon. Because they talked about doing something and I was like, oh no. And then, you know, but it's like, I think it was supposed to be at the printers on the 30th. But
Oh, really?
they kept changing things, so
Okay.
I would say by Wednesday at the latest. That's tomorrow.
Got it.
Okay.
Okay,
Might have it tonight, we'll see.
yeah, okay, great. Anything else on the warrant we want to talk about?
Did we need to revote 25 or no?
I don't think our recommendation is changing.
Oh, Article 25?
The
The
panic
panic
alarm?
alarms?
Do we need to revoke
Well,
because
if
it
you
was
want,
rewritten?
does anyone want to revote it?
No.
I don't think
If
we
it's
have
better,
to.
we don't have to.
Can we just take a peek at it? I mean, is it anything, I
It's
didn't read it.
materially
It's just like they're
same thing.
Okay.
rephrasing.
But we only voted on the old language, is that above?
No,
board
we
that
vote,
don't
we vote
revote?
on the language, not in the summary, but you're rolling up, right? This is it.
Yeah.
You're actually, we're voting
Like more or
on
less, or to
the,
take
the
action thereto,
motion.
all that,
Yeah, the
Right.
motion, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You know,
So did the motion change?
I don't know. Can you go up to
Tony,
the
can you roll
motion?
up?
Yeah, apparently not, right? So
No.
we're
Okay,
voting
right,
on
right,
this
right.
to see if
Okay.
the town, not on the summary itself.
We're good.
Okay, all good?
All good?
Yes.
Good.
Covered.
Okay.
Done.
Right, I did send out a annual report, the town meeting report.
Yes, you did.
I printed it, but I haven't done
I
it.
haven't looked over it.
It sounds like
Does it have numbers in it?
It's got numbers in it, yeah,
Okay.
but the numbers are wrong.
All right.
So in case you're wondering,
We just, as long as the
Oh.
pictures are good.
the audit will reflect it.
I didn't reflect the extra $1,000 we put into the reserve fund. So my total number here is out by $1,000. It's actually $31,144,981. which will roll down to every other number in the report. So I need to go through them
Mm.
manually.
And
change
it's,
them.
yeah, I was gonna say, it's not formulas, is it? Bummer.
No, I need to. I mean, most of it is formulas, but I need to. Yeah, I need to go through them all. But I'll do it tomorrow, I guess. If they're tomorrow.
Okay.
Anyway, so I mean, I think you've seen the sort of structure of this already.
Mhm.
So it's what's the operating budget, what's the increase. So actually, the town actually increased by 7.5% year on year, the town component of that, versus our 5.5% guidance. But in fact,
How did they do that?
well, I'll tell you, the reason is that if we measure it against the revised budget last year, which is the operating budget plus the warrant articles that get rolled into the budget after town meeting, well, I think we're 5.5%.
So isn't that
Okay.
how we should present it?
Well,
Because that's how it should be in ClearGov.
in ClearGov, that's how it is. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that's how we should present that.
Well, I'm presenting what was voted last year on here.
But that Article 5 was voted, but every other article that was raised and appropriated should have been added to Article
So if
5.
we go back and look at our budget model, let me show us in the budget model.
Unless that's going to torture you on the budget model, and then it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, because so if you look at the budget model, what you've got is this was the voted budget, and then this was the other articles we added to that.
So you have it in this model.
It's in here, but it's just not calculated that way. So,
Right.
so if you look at the total budget, it's actually only 4.9% up.
Right, so,
Because there's other things in there, like, you know,
Yeah.
other ATM articles and stuff like that's in there.
But it's in ClearGov. So if somebody took ClearGov for the FY26 budget, the 273,739 would be in that $29,000 number.
It is in that number, yeah.
I almost think that's how we have to present it.
It's going to completely mess up this model then,
Okay, then don't worry about it.
yeah.
Maybe we just need to indicate it.
I don't understand, I'm sorry, I don't know if, does anybody else understand what's going on here?
No, I'm waiting for them to keep talking.
Okay.
Somewhat, yeah.
Yeah.
You're waiting for us to talk it through.
I
Just
am.
nod your head.
That's how I learned.
Do we do
here.
that a lot?
Go back,
We
go
do
back.
it a lot.
Sorry.
Go back.
No, it's
go back.
nice because it's all out
So
loud.
the
Back to what?
6.3% that we're saying the budget went up is actually a lower number because
So-
it doesn't include the.
Yeah,
273.
So every year, what we do every year is we vote a operating budget.
yes.
And then additionally, there are normally, not this year there aren't, but normally there are other ATM articles which are raised and appropriate. For example, last year it was police salary increases, fire salary increases, some other stuff.
The hours to town hall increases.
Yeah. So that has to get rolled in. If it passes, it gets rolled into the operating budget, and it's like a revised operating budget.
Right, so but when you compare what happened last year, last year's number includes all of that stuff, basically.
In ClearGov.
In ClearGov, it does.
Okay, let's not talk about the system, just talk conceptually. So last year, we would want to know the operating budget plus everything at ATM, including RNA, right?
Operating budget plus articles
Yeah,
just for
yeah,
RNA.
yeah.
We don't need to know about everything else, just the
We
RNA,
know what we know. Yeah, we know.
Okay.
There's a
All
different
right.
because that's
number, yeah.
operating budget numbers.
For the operating
Yeah,
budget.
for the
total.
operating budgets, yeah.
All
For the
right,
model, you need everything else.
so for this year, what are you doing?
We don't know what
I've
we
taken I'm comparing like with like, which is what was voted last year, and what are we asking you to vote this year.
So you're taking the current OPR operating budget,
Yeah.
and then is there additional RNA in
No.
the ATM?
Not this year, no.
Okay, so that should be the two
But-
matching points.
But here's the thing, he's taking the Article 5 vote, Article 5, which is 29,299 and change,
Yeah.
against Article 5.
Where's the 29.5? Hold on, I don't see it.
29,299,
Budget.
What row?
top,
Six.
total budget,
B2.
B2.
Okay, 29.
Okay,
Or B6.
that was the Article 5 vote. Then in addition to that, throughout the warrant, we had an additional 273,000 and change. that got added back into that 29,000. What Tony is doing, he's taking the 29 million from Article 5 and the 31 million from Article 5, which makes it look like a higher percentage. Because we're not including the 273,739 in last year's number, even though it did get rolled into the budget.
And it feels worse because we're not raising appropriating anything this year.
Exactly, right,
But,
right.
Okay.
so if we're trying to show what the growth of our operating budget is, which numbers should we be using?
Well, I think it should be the 29 million plus the 273, because those are the real numbers. Those are real operating budget numbers that
Right.
just had to be in a separate warrant article.
Could we just add another row to this and say as voted, as initiated for the
I'm not trying to make it
or
work,
something,
I'm
you
just
know?
trying to say what's the,
It's question is how to present that and how to explain it in a way which,
Right.
on town meeting floor, is going to be.
Well, you don't have to explain that on town meeting floor, but you do need to be prepared to answer the question.
Yeah.
Or you need to asterisk that and say, there's an additional 273,000 in warrant articles last year.
but that's gonna throw off the comparison, the growth percentage.
It definitely will, because it does,
Yeah.
right? Because if you add that in, you said it's a 5%, 5.4%.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at ClearGov to ClearGov, they're at the target more.
And that's a much, 5.4 is a much nicer percentage.
Well, it's a real number too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that too, but just from a look, a lens.
So I mean, what I
Right,
could-
we
what I
don't wanna
could-
be,
what I
we'd be
could-
less than the school system, or about the same as the school system.
And we want to make sure that people, in a year where we were like, oh my God, we might need an override, then we say, well, we're all good, and we came up with 7.5. And then we don't want somebody who doesn't understand this, like a school committee member, come back and say, I don't understand, you're complaining, and here you are.
Right.
Right, it needs to be a real number, so.
So it's something like this. It's there's a number there, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Versus
The
versus this again.
That number, no, your
That-
X's need to move over to the right. You're in the wrong column.
Yeah,
Including
yeah,
RNA
yeah,
should be
yeah.
over in the voted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could do that.
So it could be that.
I don't know, actually, I would do it the other way. You're saying, is there any potential in 27 for RNA? And I don't think, we don't have anything.
No.
right?
We don't have
Right.
anything.
So I don't understand why, including RNA as an article, my
Well, the
understanding
only
is a
thing-
normal process,
Instead of
right?
being some, maybe just say RNA and then a 0 in one column and the total
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
RNA in the other, and then you can see the total go
So
up.
there's challenges either way, because if I put the number in here, if I put in a 26 number here, which is the revised number, the ClearGov number, it won't match with what I've got in the tables in the warrant, because they actually no, it will match, because they actually are
The tables in the warrant.
ClearGov numbers,
Yeah,
so it will match.
I'm sorry, yeah, you should just
Yeah,
put
okay.
it.
the tables under Article 5.
Yeah.
Okay, I was trying to.
So actually, no, okay. This is an easy fix then. I'll use I won't use the budget model numbers for this table.
Right,
Okay.
I'll use the ClearGov numbers, which are already in the warrant,
Yep.
as the totals. And that fixes the problem.
Okay, but
So
I
you
don't-
won't show the as voted then?
I won't.
Or you can
I
still-
won't show the as voted. No, I won't show the as voted. So the only question is there someone that says, well, that's not what we voted last year? Someone gets out the old
Right.
minutes of last year's meeting and says, well, last year we actually voted 29, whatever, 299, but you're saying a bigger number now.
Right.
Yeah, that's how you
I can
explain,
explain- I can
that's
explain- I can
exactly,
explain that,
that's
yeah.
the process, right?
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
nothing to defend.
No, I can explain it, but it's that's an easier explanation, I think.
So let my slow brain catch up here. So
Okay,
your 299 does not have the ATM RNA in it.
correct,
We're concluding that it should,
yeah.
and that will be to our benefit because that will decrease the increase from 6.3% down to 5.
6 or something, I think. Yeah,
Perfect,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
in line with the school
Yeah.
district.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
5 point what?
I don't know.
We don't know, we haven't
Oh,
hasn't
okay.
calculated yet.
And it's 5 point X.
Yeah.
And Tony, I actually did not see how you put this operating budget in. I kind of love that. I
Where's
think
that?
that's in the warrant article, the way
Oh,
you
right.
did this. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that looks great. And then you have the votes. So
Yeah.
I like that. people are gonna complain because it doesn't
Oh.
have the totals, but
Oh,
who
right.
cares? It looks really good.
Oh,
Is this in the report? Where are you
Yeah,
reading this?
it's in the it's in the warrant,
Can we show you?
in Article 5. This is different than the way we've done it in the past, but I think it's
Yeah,
cleaner.
I just,
Have you shown it to the moderator?
no. He'll look at, well, I don't know.
Well, because he goes through line by line, I think he should be okay, because we don't do totals, I don't think.
Okay,
But I like it, it's a
Well-
cleaner look.
I don't know. Okay, let me just run to Article 5.
It's 21.
Here we go. So I've, so we've got two tables. One is 27 versus 26 and growth by line
Yep.
item.
Mhm.
And then I've got
This.
there's salary, non-salary, just the comparisons basically.
But you also have our vote, which I really like.
Vote.
Yeah, and you have all the
Should
codes.
you say FinCom vote? Does it say anyway whose vote that is?
Yeah, it says
It
FinCom.
does say at the bottom here, I think it says.
Yeah.
The title
FinCom
says,
votes.
yeah.
And I put a note in that police 210 and DPW are not in favour. They were 3-3.
Yep.
Sorry, what was the issue with DPW?
We didn't like the increase for
Oh,
the director.
increase for both. That's
Yep.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So it's-
But I love that because that makes it easier. You don't have to do a lot of notes and people can just look at those votes and see how people voted.
Yeah.
So I think this is much cleaner.
I think we, as most of these are unanimous, we have to have a position on that.
On police and fire.
No, what is, it looks like we're a rubber stamp.
You think we should vote against some of these?
We voted
You wanna
against two
re-vote?
big departments.
No. John wants to re-vote.
There was a Reno 911. There was a Reno 911 on that exact, in a much worse scenario. But anyways,
I don't understand.
so there's no resistance.
I think the
Right.
statement is that we gave really clear guidance that our
Yeah.
departments took us very seriously
Yeah.
because we did due diligence in advance.
So, yeah,
And-
I think.
How do we
our-
answer that
I
question
think
if
our
someone asks?
response
Right.
is,
That's the
there's a
question.
lot of deliberation that goes on before we take the vote,
Right.
right? It's
Right.
not
Mhm.
like you show us 20 minutes before town meeting
Right.
and everybody just raises their hand.
Or if they watch our meetings and we just kind of blow through our votes, we've already
Yeah, it
discussed
looks
these ad
exactly-
nauseum over time.
I
So
just
I
wanna
think
make
that's
sure
just a
we're all-
question that you need to be prepared
Right.
to answer, I think.
Just make sure we're all on the same wavelength.
I think the fact there were some there which are not.
Which I think it's huge, and it's police and
Yeah.
DPW, it's not
Yeah.
like we're voting small, I mean, that's a
Yeah.
big budget to be split on. Those are two of the biggest
Number
budgets.
2 and 3
I
of
think
the
the other
budget.
thing too is though, like the things we have voted on, they're, I don't know, to me, everything that came in front of us has been very straightforward in terms of like what they've asked for. They've had a clear request and we even put most of it, and I think it's in the beginning there where we paid for everything in free cash to not RNA this year, like
Yeah.
it was very structured. But yeah, John, to your point, someone easily could look at this and be like, do you guys just approve everything? Like,
And there'll be people who will say that, and we'll
Yep.
have an answer for it,
Do we have a
Yeah.
story of the A and B budgets anywhere that, like, the town
So that-
voters will know that process happened?
Well,
There's
there's
a
something in that for the
Slideshow.
PowerPoint.
Yeah,
Right.
I
But I
think there
think
needs
also-
to be one
yeah,
slide
yeah.
at least on this year's budget
Yeah, stop.
before, yeah.
I think
Because
also
we
though, if
did
you're
2
looking
whole
at
budgets to
warrant
start,
articles-
slashed one completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Found that we
Yeah, fair.
didn't need to do the more aggressive one, so I think that whole.
Yeah, no, I
Just
think
like
that-
elaborate on
yeah.
the little future challenges blurb.
Yeah.
I'm still in my mind on what the story is for the presentation, but I think it really starts with avoiding an override.
Right.
So that
Yeah.
question came up last night at the select board, I was asked.
Ask what?
I don't know, for whatever reason Bob said, so Maria, is we gonna have an override next year? We're gonna try not to. I said, I just like we thought we were gonna have one this year, but we didn't. I said, I will tell you that the FinCom is not on board with just an automatic yes.
Yeah.
We're gonna do the same thing we did. We're gonna look in the fall and we're gonna start putting budgets together.
Yeah, that's what I've said.
And Mike agreed with that.
I
Mike
in the
said, yeah,
report, I haven't said anything about, we expect no override next year. I just said we're close, that's all.
yeah, we're close and we just gotta wait.
It's all
And I think part of it has to do with whatever happens in Acton.
Yeah,
Right.
True.
And in fact, if you go down here, I've got the, you know, the famous graph in here. The lines are sort of parallel.
Yes.
Ooh.
They shall never meet.
Where is that showing?
Yeah. I mean, the scales are obviously compressed or whatever, you know, the side here.
But I think you did a nice job not messing with the graphics to make it look better. It looks just like it should. You do a lot with charts.
Yeah,
Yeah, you should have made it like 3D
Like you said,
and
you
then rotate.
alter the scale to
Then
like
Yeah.
look
every
at it from
$5
the
million
top.
or every
But in
$100,000, and all of a sudden it's like, oh look how
Yeah.
much room we have.
Based on our model, our excess of capacity is slightly higher this year than last year.
See,
If that
we don't need
holds-
an override, I'm telling you.
If that holds up,
But again,
well,
it's consistent message. Last year we thought we might need one. This year we think we might need one.
In reality, it all hangs on the schools, right?
And growth.
Growth.
Yeah, but
growth
mostly
will
the
happen
schools.
overnight.
Yes.
Yeah.
And investment earnings. We never see that in the,
Yeah.
in
I
the
tell you,
income
the fact that
side.
we lost $1 million,
That's a big deal.
That was.
that's a really big deal.
Yeah.
We never see that,
That's
we have
a
not
holdup.
modeled that.
That's also just what we know. I mean,
And that goes
That's a
into
whole
the
lot.
general
Yeah.
fund, right?
Mhm.
Or does it get reinvested? We need to figure that. That's one of those questions.
That's,
Right.
yeah, that's fair.
Anyway,
It's a lot of scratch.
I'll be
Turns out.
working through tomorrow,
It's
doing some
Okay.
revising, because I'm $1,000 off right through the report.
Plus,
So
you're gonna change it so
I'll
that it
change
looks, okay.
that first bit. If you have any sort of comments on the wording, the verbiage.
I had one comment
Okay.
that I just read through right now. Where was it? I should have left it there. It said we used free cash to balance the budget, but I thought we
Where do you say
don't
that?
do that.
No, we don't do that.
When do you say that?
Yes, top of page 3. Use of reserves. Reserves free cash will be used to balance the budget. Right there. No, scroll back down. Sorry, Tony. Right on the top of page 3. If you scroll a little bit more. Use of reserves. Right there. Reserves free cash will be used to balance the budget.
So that's probably not the right wording then. To fund ATM articles.
Yeah, that's all you have to change. Because there have been past years when we've done that, where we've used free cash to balance, to add $300,000 or $400,000 to the budget.
Yeah.
But a few years ago, we stopped doing that.
Yeah.
Don't be Marblehead.
Well, because, you know, that's what happened to the school. That's how the school got in trouble, because they spent so much money in reserves, and all of a sudden, they ran out of reserves.
Run out sooner or later.
Yep, and Acton, that's how they also funded their budgets, is using their reserves. They had huge reserves from a WR Gray settlement, and they used it all to balance budgets, and then got in trouble.
Okay, so if everyone can quick look at that and send me any comments by tomorrow, I'll need to get back into edits by tomorrow evening, I think, that sounds right.
One of these days, I'm gonna take a picture of you when I say something that you find to
just
be
like,
like. Because
I'll be
she's-
Googling that later.
Google what?
WR Gray
Google-
settlement?
Yeah, I was like, huh?
Oh, yeah.
That Acton had reserves from a WR Gray settlement, and they used it to fund budgets
Oh,
for many, many years.
It'd be a super fun exploration
Like-
for you later on.
Yeah, there was a super fund site. There is
Okay.
a super fund site. Okay.
Okay, calendar, no meeting next week.
Canada, no
No, I
meeting.
didn't
Calendar.
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 I thought he said candidate. I'm like, we're putting up a candidate?
I heard calendar.
Next thing on the agenda, calendar. There will be no
Calendar.
meeting next week, unless everyone really wants to have a meeting next week.
No, I'm good, because I got a lot of meetings next week, so I'm happy to take a night off.
Are we all okay with no meeting next week? Are we all okay?
I'm all
I'll get
right.
over
That
it.
works.
Okay. Committee reports, John Grieven.
I do not have any updates for this week.
You're afraid to give us updates.
Oh, no, for the record, I know on the record,
Mom's the word.
I very
Swap
much
shed wasn't open this weekend, by
appreciate
the way.
all the feedback I get,
Yeah.
especially for the sustainability committee, because, two things. One, they look to me for it, but two, like, I want this feedback up front, because they have a lot of good ideas, but if we roll them out just like, sounds great, it's gonna hit town floor and just like,
Yeah.
it's gonna be all note cards,
Yeah.
you know? So
Yeah.
this feedback up front helps me help them
Okay.
to then bring something viable. So,
We'll keep the
bring it
roads
on.
going then.
What I'm saying is bring it
All
on.
right.
CBC canceled again this month, starting it back in person in May. And UBC hasn't met since last week.
Nothing. However, I was hearing on the news, a lot of different towns are looking into their incredible snow and ice increases for the year. So I was planning on this week reaching out to Ed to just see where he's at with that. And I figured I'd also ask you guys if there's anything else for the DPW you'd like to know or ask, since I'll be reaching out. So anything pressing?
No, he fixed a sign outside my house
Yeah.
that he knocked down.
So you're happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
The 25 mile per hour sign had been flattened.
Because they weren't paying attention to the sign. Okay, I don't think so.
Cool.
So fire station met last week, and we have, we've put out an RFQ for the architect, and we've had 35 inquiries. I don't know how many people have actually, 35 people have taken the package. I don't know how many people actually, we had 9 firms come to an open house at the fire station. I don't know what's come back. I got an email from Mike about it, but I haven't read anything. And we're gonna do interviews next Wednesday. And the goal is to interview 3 companies. And it will be Wednesday night, and we're starting at 6, 45-minute interviews, a few minutes in between, and then we're gonna deliberate, and we're gonna make a decision that night. It's gonna be a long night, so that will be next, Wednesday. And one more thing. We're proceeding on the closing for the property at, on Mass Ave.
Cool.
We have, you know, it'll be another few weeks, but we're making progress.
Awesome.
Yep.
School committee, no meeting since our last update, but Peter sent something out, I think around 4 or 5 o'clock today,
Yes,
6A and
two final
7A.
plans, yeah.
We just keep going. My phone blew up as soon as it hit the wires. My phone went
I have
crazy.
yet to process it. I still, the geographic design of them, is so wacky, but you cannot use that as a judgment. So I'll follow up on that. But they're supposed to vote on that next week.
It's
Just read it.
No, that's 6A.
6A is worse. 6A is worse.
7A.
7A is more.
Part of Boxborough now is
It
part of
doesn't
the
have
flex
that
zone.
weird
People are
sign line.
not happy. They just need to make a decision. Because every time one of these scenarios
I know.
comes out,
They need to put it in the ground.
And be done with it.
And just get
Stop.
over,
Yeah.
no phase-ins.
Yeah.
You're done.
yeah.
Sorry.
Because
That's
every
fine.
time one of these comes out, it's like the whole world blows up
And they
again
need
on
to-
social
I-
media.
I hope they're designing for long-term flexibility, not short-term angst minimization. And I know that's hard to say, but they have to do that. Otherwise, we'll be having another meeting 5 years from now,
Yeah.
or 2 years from now. Anyways, God, that vote is next week, I believe. What day is it? Yeah, next week.
We have assessor interviews coming up, so I'll be on need to be bound for assessors.
What is that?
like
Is that
two-
soon?
like 2 weeks' time, maybe?
Do we know how many candidates we have?
Don't know.
Okay. Hopefully,
So
a
that'd be-
couple.
Yeah, yeah. Good. Anything else, anybody?
That's it.
I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
That was,
You
Turning up
guys.
my game.
that was Maria N., seconded by Joe S.
He picked you! He picked
He
you!
beat you to it.
The
No, he did
millisecond.
not.
He did.
You have to take the actual vote.
Yeah, all in favour?
Aye.
No.
That is 5-1.
John's really offended now.
John said no.
John C.
Connor.
Oh, my goodness.
I had no idea.